Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph, we're back. We were gone for a little bit.
Yep.
And glad nothing bad has happened since we've been gone, right? Everything
smooth sailing. Yep.
Everything's hunky-dory and nothing to talk about really. So we'll see you guys later. Right? Have a good one.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Stick around. We got a lot to talk about. Just what are we talking about on this?
We're gonna do a little bit
YSGOAT.
So we're gonna do a little bit of pop culture stuff. We the third season of The Bear dropped and we watched that. We're gonna talk about episode 5, I think it was, of Acolyte. And the latest episode of House of Dragon season 2, which was episode 3.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't here to talk about 1 or 2.
Yeah,
we weren't here to talk about episode 4 of Acolyte, but that's okay. We'll probably talk about it while we talk.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And then we're going to talk about the big stuff, which was the fallout from Biden's really rough going in the first debate.
Rough. Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the SCOTUS rulings, the Supreme Court rulings. I have a list of them here to go through. All shitty.
Each one gets worse than the other one. I say this.
Yeah.
Where it's Homer talking to Bart or whatever. Bart's like, this is the worst thing ever. And Homer goes like, no, this is the worst thing that happened so far.
Right. Yes.
Like
yes. It was kind of interesting because even the good ones are actually shitty. They're like shitty in disguise.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about
never mind.
Yep, we're gonna talk about JD Vance taking credit for the infrastructure bill.
Not voting for it. That's seems to be a thing Republicans love to do.
We're talking about Lauren Boebert winning her primary.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Yeah, I did too, but only towards the end when she first went. Well, anyway, we'll talk about Lauren Boebert. Yep. And then the last thing is a weird thing that I kind of came across: the race for a hospital board in county in Florida. And then I started looking into it, and apparently there's been the Republicans are putting a lot of money into hospital board races.
Like the same thing with school boards also, like from a couple of years ago.
They've been focusing on school boards for like the last, I'm not kidding here, like 40 years.
Oh yeah.
Much
been a big project. They used COVID as like an escalation.
Yeah. But hospital boards and things like railroad commissioner and shit like that have become kind of the latest thing. But that's what we're gonna talk about. So it doesn't look like a lot of topics, but there's like a lot of stuff in there. But let's talk about the pop culture stuff briefly and then get into
I would love to get into it more, but we'll see where the conversation goes. It's just debate. I could spend like hours talking about that. But before we get into that, do me a favor. If you guys like this podcast, we have a link in the caption, right, Joseph? Is that link there? Or are you lying to me?
It is in every episode. The link is in every episode.
To buy us a coffee. If you like this podcast or like listening to it, even if you just listen to it for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd say, if you feel inclined to, feel free to buy us a coffee. We'd appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Let's get into The Bear season 3.
Yeah.
It was all right. It was kind of like, I heard a while back that they were filming 3 and 4 back to back. I thought that was a good idea because I felt like especially the main 3 stars are getting really big.
Yes. Yeah.
Some guys could be the Thing and Fantastic Four. The guy who plays the bear, I forget it. Is his name like Carmy? What's his name?
No, his on the show, his name is Carmen, and they call him Carmy.
But they also call him the bear, right? Like that's not.
Yeah, they call him. Yeah, and I forget his real name. It's I mean, I could tell you in a second. It is What is his name?
It's okay. Jeremy Allen White and
Yes.
Io, who plays Sydney, like she's become a big star, and a lot of
Yep.
the people on the show, everyone's kind of blowing up on the show. It's a big hit. I think it won a ton of awards.
Yeah.
It's just got a lot of accolades. And they announced it was going to be season 3, and they filmed back to back. So I was like, all right, this is smart. You get them in there, you film it, and then you don't have to release the next season for like a year.
Right.
But people aren't waiting like 2 to 3 or 4 years for the next season because we've got to wait for everybody to finish their fucking other projects. So, but I feel like what happened is they just made season 3 and 4, like season 3 is really just half of,
Yeah, that's what it is.
well, yeah, like it didn't
It's
feel like its own thing. Like not a lot. Like we're dealing with like the fallout of the last episode of season 2, and like I feel like even by like episode 8, I'm like, I was telling my wife, I'm watching. I'm like, it's still like haven't resolved shit from this
yeah.
fucking fridge thing. I mean, like I knew
Yeah.
that. I figured like the Richie and him would just kind of go back to the way it was anyway. They would just yell at
Right.
each other anyway. I mean, that's just like how they are. So I figured that would blow over pretty quickly. You know, they'd just be like, hey, fuck you, you're a piece of shit or whatever, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like, but like, I don't know. The thing with the girlfriend, like, yeah, I know she's your favorite character.
Yeah.
Uh
Yeah. Yeah. She is the cousin Oliver of the show.
what's her name?
Um,
Claire Bear?
Claire. Yeah, they call
Yeah,
her Claire
yeah.
Bear.
She was okay this season because
She was absent.
no, well, like
She's
she got to be like a real person this season because they would show her job,
yeah.
what
Yeah.
she does. I like her interactions with the fact guys.
Yeah.
Uh, and she felt like an actual person, not just some device like in the second season where she'd show up and everything would just go to a crawl. Honestly, I wouldn't hate her character if the writers knew how to do a scene with her and Carmen and didn't make the whole thing feel like a drain.
Yeah.
Like everything
Yeah.
just gets like really weird and like I don't know. There's all these weird close-ups and like whispering. I'm like,
It's
oh,
just like all of a sudden Carmen's a different person, and like that's not really how life
I
works.
still feel like it's like someone's like, we can't have the bear be sing. We have to show that he like is with a woman or something. And I'm like, we
Yeah.
really don't. Like,
Yeah.
he could just be so obsessed with what he does. He can't have a relationship. And I guess the season 3 kind of
That's what it
acknowledged that.
was. Yeah.
And everyone's like, you gotta get back with her. But like, does he have to?
Why? Yeah.
Like, does she
She's
want
awful.
to? No, but does she want to?
I can't imagine she would. That was
Yeah.
psychotic what he did.
Yeah. I don't even remember,
It's like
honestly.
so
I guess
unhealthy.
he was just saying horrible shit through that the freezer, right? He
Yeah.
just
Well, it's
crazy
like not only that, but like you walk, and I think this is like what you see at the end of season 3. Like this is what Sydney's realizing, and maybe what Richie's realizing too, is that like you walk into the kitchen and you look around, and Carmen is just being like an abusive shit to everyone around him. You know,
he
you come,
learned the worst things from that guy.
yeah,
It's like, and one thing I found interesting about the season 2 is they show all the positive things that happened to him, but he focuses on this
yeah.
how abusive this guy is. And unfortunately, that is true.
I
We
didn't realize
do
that
tend
was,
to like I've worked in creative fields for years and I dealt with lots of different people and I've dealt with very abusive bosses and abusive people. And I focus on that and not the good things, the
yeah,
positive things. That's what happens, especially, you know, trauma and damage can really affect people in a lot of ways. And this guy really affected him. So, like, when he had that conversation with them at the dinner in the last
right.
episode, um, the guy was, I don't know if he was being honest and saying, like, I was pushing you to the next level, or he was just trying to get out of like getting into a physical altercation with the bear.
That's what I think. But yeah,
No, he might have been serious. I'm sure he was like, I mean, I think that's the other thing too about like Sydney. She has that like insane panic attack in the end. She gets offered that job by that guy, and I think that's a foolish move. I don't think she should go to that guy in the end. This is all spoilers for season
yeah,
3.
yeah,
So coming into this now, you're like, what the fuck? Good. So there's a chef there's that restaurant. You find out it's closing down. That was the one Richie worked at last season, and you find
yeah.
out more of like Carby's origin that he started out kind of at that restaurant, and then he
All
went to New York.
yes, all those things he sent people on previously he himself had done.
Right.
Like to
That,
Denmark and to
the guy from who played Warlock
yeah,
recently, Guardians of the Galaxy, that guy.
yep,
I like him on the show. He's like I just think it's so funny, that actor. He's such like a twerp. Like he always played like these twerpy characters, and now he's
yeah,
all like
yeah.
up. It's like weird
Right, right.
because he's still kind of awkward and funny, you know. But he's like all jacked now. It's so weird. And I was like, damn, did he get taller too? It's weird. I don't know. So yeah, he was from that restaurant also, because he sends the dessert chef guy to
Yeah.
him. Yeah, he sent them all in these little things. But I feel like Sydney kind of just fell into this. She didn't go through what Carmi went through.
Well, and she's a complete outsider. Like all of them have like a real deep bond except for Sydney.
And I think that like when she's having dinner with those people, like I hate when they have like actual people and shows,
Yeah.
because they're not really actors. And I think everyone did a decent job, but I kind of hate it though, because it's always like weird. The actors
Yeah.
and the show have to like talk to these real people differently, because it's like, it's like when SNL has like a sports star on.
Right,
It's
right.
like, okay, this episode's gonna suck ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Except unless it's Peyton Manning, yes.
Peyton Manning. Yeah, I
He
guess
was great. He was really, really funny on the show.
sure he was, Joseph. Yes. My
He
favorite
was
episode
good.
when Peyton Manning was on.
Yeah, he was real funny.
Which one's Peyton Manning?
He's the tall, goofy guy that has the big head. He did that
He has a
skit where
brother,
he,
right? He's also a football player.
yeah, yeah. But Peyton Manning did the one where he like is coaching a youth group football team, and he's like a complete asshole to him.
I
like
don't remember it, but
it was real good.
well, regardless, it's like when they have like a musician, pop star, or
Yeah.
sports star be a host on SNL. It's like everyone's like it always feels like a little different. They got to acknowledge how great that person is.
Yeah.
But one of the conversations they have is the people talking about how they feel like they're an imposter. And I bet you, like, Sydney's listening to them just being like, yeah, these are like all these chefs that like went through all this education. She kind of just fell into it, right? Did she?
Yeah. She went to a culinary school because when she applied to, I don't know why she applied to the Bear, but anyway, she came to Carmen with like a resume, and she had like a professional background,
Yeah.
But there's always been something off about her. I don't say that in a negative way, but like her character
makes these like weird faces. She gets really quiet, and
yep. And
she makes weird
things. She makes weird decisions, and she had that weird dynamic with her father. I mean, like I guess in season 4, we're probably going to see a Sydney backstory, which probably would have been really useful prior to season 4.
Well, I think she's making a big mistake going to leave, even thinking about leaving. I think it's like, you get it, he's nuts. And it is true. It's like, when they're talking about getting credit and like Carmen takes all the credit or whatever. Unfortunately, that's how it is.
Yeah.
My bosses would always take all the credit. And I would even get some of the credit when I had people under me. That's just how it goes. If you run the team, you are the face.
Yeah. Well, you take the blame too.
You also take all the blame too. Yeah. You take the blame, you take
if the Bear gets a shitty review, they're not going to be looking at like Sydney. They're going to be looking at Carmen. So.
Right. So supposedly this guy knew it was Sydney's and not the Bears, and that's why he's like has an interest. But the thing is, she's not going to realize is that this guy is going to have this false expectation of her. I feel like the Bear, the Carmi, is going to be more forgiving for her failures.
Yeah.
And this guy will drop her like a stone.
The other guy too has investors, and he tells her like, well, you can have your own, say in the kitchen or whatever, but like there's going to be, I don't know if she's going to take it.
There's different expectations, and she's gonna. I think it's a bad. I'm watching. I'm like, it sounds great, but this is gonna be a bad move. She thinks she's skirting responsibility because she didn't want to be a partner. She wouldn't sign that paper, and she thinks she's gonna go into this thing and think it's gonna be easy, but it's like it's gonna be the same fucking shit.
But at the end,
you're not gonna have that relationship with that guy.
Yeah, but at the end of of episode 10, I think there's a couple scenes where like Richie and Sydney and even Carmen are looking around at the staff at Ever and how Ever is running and everything, and nobody's yelling at each other. Nobody's arguing. There's no like fucking shit spilled everywhere. It's like a finely run place
But
with
they
really
were
good
doing it
food.
for years.
Yeah, well, that's it. Is that
And
like
they were probably people that, it's like Richie was running a fucking sandwich shop.
yeah, but he had
Wasn't
like
maitre d at a
right, but he had like a real almost like a religious conversion to like some sort of Zen approach to restaurants or whatever. I mean, he really is like a true believer.
yeah.
And I think he's like, I think that's one of the things I love about the show is that he saw how like even pretty simple things can be elevated to like art,
And you
like,
notice how he never takes the suit off, even when he's out.
right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it probably makes him feel important. It makes him
Yeah. It was. I mean, he almost like became a monk. He's got like a outfit and yeah, and like there's a scene like I forget which episode. It's like 6 or 7 of this one where he looks around and he sees a fork on the floor, and he just feels like it's like a crisis to him that like almost like he had dropped a sacred relic or something. Um, it's weird because like Sydney Carmen has like such a chaotic view of art, and Richie has this real uh like Zen like approach to art, and I think Sydney's kind of caught in the middle. I loved season 3. I thought it was real good. My wife
It
wasn't
wasn't as
super.
good as season 2.
My
Season
wife
2,
said the same thing.
season 2 is the
um
best season. It just because it had the with everything going on and had the lead up to the restaurant
yeah,
having to get to that rehearsal or whatever with the friends and family.
but yeah, the problem here was literally no conflicts were resolved. They
No,
kept
that's why it felt like
introducing.
a half a season. It
Yeah,
didn't I mean,
but even and at the end of a half season, something should have been resolved which caused a new bigger problem.
well, I mean,
Oh, the bear got a great review in the Chicago Sun Tribune.
he got a bad
How
review in the end, right?
well, we don't know. They showed it real fast, and all you saw were things like genius, failure, disappointing,
I think I said
amazing.
it was a bad review, and Oliver Platt's character, the
Well, he kept calling. He at
he said,
the
if you get a bad review, I'm going to cut you off, Uncle Jimmy.
yeah, but
And you find out Uncle Jimmy is financially not doing well.
right, yeah, that was kind
He's
of
got his own
surprising.
problems. I like the computer or whatever this
Yeah.
guy was.
But at the end we don't know that because all you see is he's got like 5 missed calls from Jimmy and computer, and then he sees a review, and then we see him scanning it, but we know that Carmen's an unreliable narrator. The guy's a head case.
I mean, look at that first episode. It took me like 20 minutes to realize what the fuck was going on.
When
That was a horrible. I hated that episode. I was like, the worst episodes of the season. And now listen, was it what did it look great?
yeah, it was
Visually great? Was it like some artistic bullshit? Yes. But as a fucking episode back from the second season, I fucking hated it. It was like, okay, this is why I'm glad they dumped these all at once. Because if I
yeah.
watched that and had to wait a week for the next
Oh, that
episode,
would have pissed me
I would have
off.
been like, this is some bullshit. And then the fucking worst episode though was the pregnancy, the one where his sister gives birth.
Oh yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis. I can't handle Jamie Lee Curtis's character. She's such a fucking wreck. There's like,
She's exhausting. Like I feel
I get it.
drained.
That's the whole point. It's why they're all fucked up. All these
I
people.
know, but like yeah.
One of the
I didn't.
better episodes was the one that I didn't think I was gonna like, and that was the one that focused on
Tina. Yeah.
and you said you felt like it was almost like a retconned her character, like
I feel that way.
like she did. What would you say that about her? She was just like a pain in the ass or something in the first
Well,
season.
it felt like she was very the first season or two, and I get what you're about to say
Well,
because
yeah,
you're
but
going for it. But it seemed like she was like a single parent that had a lot of trouble wrangling her kid. And then in this season, we find out that she has a pretty loving husband who's reliable and they're
well, it's a
solid and
flashback. We don't know how far back it is.
true.
Years.
But
And
she came from a good place. Now you're right, she did get devastated by getting laid off after having worked there for
okay, so
15 years.
you find out she loses her job after 15 years. She can't get hired anywhere because It's like she didn't have like the
Didn't have a
education.
degree.
She
She's
has, even if
45.
she had
Yeah.
all the experience, places won't even look at her, and which is bullshit. I don't believe that. If you have all the experience, they will look at you. That's a lie. But
If
whatever.
you're looking for
I
that
mean,
kind of work, I would
there are some
imagine.
jobs that are
Yeah.
stupid and they won't look at you if you don't have a degree. But there are some companies, if you have fucking 15 years at a place, they will consider you. And then yeah, she has this husband, but you basically find out how she ended up at the bear. She couldn't get any jobs. She got screwed. There was like places that, like that one place she goes to, and they're like, "Oh, we already hired someone." That
Yeah.
guy dork, the
Yeah. Yeah.
at the
She laid into him. Yeah.
yeah. Well, that was bullshit. He was a dick about
He
it.
was a dick. He was a dick about it because you got to have a little empathy when
Have
someone
some
comes
fucking
in.
tact and just be like, "I'm sorry to say that, whatever." And usually they would have someone come out and say
Yeah.
something. It would be the person would bring him in and be like, "Listen, I want to apologize," and say, whatever. I mean,
Yeah. That guy should have just been like, look,
that's not
this
it. Would
place is.
That's not the messenger. He's just the fucking guy in the front. You would have the person who does the hiring. They would come back and they were
Yeah.
okay. So she ends up at the bear, and it ends up being this really good episode with the brother who died. What's his name?
The Punisher.
Yeah, the Punisher. Yeah, yeah, the Punisher. You mean the guy from Walking Dead?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael,
Yeah.
John Barenthal. It's like we get an episode with him in every season, and this was the episode, and you got to see how it was and how they just fuck around, and so she, he basically hires her, and
Yeah.
I would assume she was there like just a couple of years, maybe like 2 years or something at most.
I would, yeah, because it looks
No,
like
we don't.
Carmen had left for New York, and all this was happening while Carmen was off in New York.
Yeah. They ever say how long he was gone?
No, but he was there for like a year or two, if I remember right. He was there
Okay.
long enough to have Joel McHale really get in his head.
Yeah.
So.
What's his name on Community?
Oh yeah, on Community. I
Yeah.
forget.
Starman. He's on the Stargirl show. He played Starman.
Oh yeah.
So he so you find out, I would say, what the deal with her was and why she was so rigid in this first season. She's probably like, all right, I have this job. It's not that great, but whatever. It pays the bills. And it's consistent. It's consistent work. She probably likes consistency.
Yep.
And then here's this fucking girl comes in, this young girl, and Carmen, and everything's changing. No fucking
Yeah.
thing. Now we're turning this into his fucking restaurant, and she's probably like, "Shit, I'm gonna get fired."
Yeah.
That's probably what she really felt like. She probably felt like she's
That
gonna
makes
get
sense.
replaced because she already experienced that. And also, we don't know. Maybe her husband died, or
Yeah, that could be. That
I
could
don't
be.
know. It's possible. I would imagine that he would have been at that rehearsal dinner or something, if her husband was alive or was still
Yeah.
with her.
I think that's part of what made it feel like retconny to me.
Yeah,
But
well,
I could be wrong.
maybe they'll explain that.
Yeah.
I think unfortunately, the way out is that he's probably not around anymore.
Yeah.
Or he could have been busy. Maybe he got a new job. I have no idea. Doesn't matter. Point is, I thought that was probably one of the stronger episodes of the season.
Yeah, it was real good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's some good stuff. The thing with Richie and his ex-wife. I mean, I could see why you wouldn't want to fucking go to a wedding, but whatever. I mean,
I thought that was nice. I
they
mean,
have a kid together, so
yeah.
For the kid's life, the new husband who played by guest star.
Josh Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett. Yeah, that was the other thing about the season. There was a little too many guest stars.
I love John
even
Cena, but
what's again? I forget her name. Is it Tina?
Yeah,
even Tina's husband. Like I've seen that guy.
Yeah,
he was Oz. He was in Dexter. He was the main character in Dexter. And then John Cena shows up as the other fact.
Yeah,
and I think they dropped there's 10 facts, and that means every season now we're gonna get another one. So I said that it's probably gonna be like Melissa McCarthy. I was telling my wife it's gonna get dumber and dumber. So, Melissa McCarthy with a mustache to show up next season.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Fucking Jimmy Glick, not Martin Short,
right.
Jimmy Glick as a fact. It's just gonna get so stupid. Congressman,
right.
I'll say this too. I was telling my wife about this about fact. The main one.
Yeah.
His character, Neil, makes no fucking sense, and I'll tell you why.
Huh.
Doesn't make any sense. Now his character's fine. He made his personality and everything that works. It's his fucking hipster tattoos that he's covered in. That makes no fucking sense. The kind of family he comes from, the kind of people he deals with, he would not be covered in fucking freaking the Coney Island fucking circus tattoos.
It is a little weird.
Like, that's like some LA shit. That's some Austin shit. That's some Brooklyn shit. That's not
working class Chicago. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't make sense with the kind of people he's with. Now, unless like we find out Fack like was gone for 10 years and lived in LA or
part of the Jim Rose circus.
Yeah, like, know what I mean? Like, nah, like I worked with people like that. And I was in Dallas. Like, that was like they would hang out fucking like what's that street in Dallas? The cool street all the bands play.
Like Elm Street?
Yeah, no, not Elm Street.
Commerce?
No, the famous street in Dallas. You live there. You go there all the fucking time.
Yeah, but I don't know the street names.
Or whatever's there.
The what shop?
Oh, I'll forget it.
Oh, the bomb. Yeah, Street? That's like Elm Street, or
it's in Elm Street. It's called. There's another word for it.
Are you sure?
Yeah. You live there. What the fuck? Come on.
Yeah. Okay. There's like Elm Street. There's Commerce Street.
Okay.
What are the other streets there?
It's like an area. They have a name for it. Little Elm.
Oh, Deep Elm.
Deep Elm. Street. Yeah, Jesus.
Elm Street that's why they call it Deep Elm. That's why they call
I'm saying he's like some fucking Deep Elm fucking guy.
Oh yeah.
Jesus, you should edit that all out. That was like
no, you're saying like a street. The street is Elm Street
in Dallas where all the bands play. I figured you would have knew exactly what I was talking about. Very disappointing. You're saying that it's on 3rd and Commerce?
Yeah, it's Elm Street, Commerce Street, and Main Street.
Deep Elm. Okay.
Deep Elm, right.
I'm just saying his character makes no sense from a visual standpoint. Unless he was in Jim Rhodes' sideshow for 10 years. He's like the guy's like some fucking hipster chef from Vice, I think, in real life. And then
is he?
I think he was like a Vice chef or something.
Oh, geez, that's funny. Well, I know he's an executive producer on the show.
No, I like the character. I think he's great on it.
Yeah, he's good.
I'm just saying that from the kind of people that they are,
right.
Sense that he would have.
It's off key, yeah.
That's whatever. Okay, it was fine. I still like the show. It just definitely was not.
I think I like it more than most people that are. I like it more than most, I think.
I'm glad that I don't have to wait like 6 years for the next season or something. That who knows? It might even come out in the end of this year. I don't know. They should probably, depending on I don't know what they plan on doing. Like, is the next season the last season? I honestly think that kind of show does not need to last forever. I would be more than happy if it ended in the 4th season. If they tell a complete story.
I would too. I mean, like, there's not a ton of show. I mean, like, you could conceivably see it wrapping up next season. I mean, like, Carmen just has to come. He has to go to his last Al-Anon meeting, and make peace with that. And then he has to like get his Michelin star or whatever. And then Sid needs to go open her own restaurant because they made a big deal. That's the reason I think Sydney might go to that other one, because they kept dropping hints like Legacy about how there's a lot of turnover and stuff like that. And anyway, I liked it. I'm real excited to see season.
Well, like I said, I could see why she had the panic attack and stuff and everything. She probably does feel a little bit like an imposter a bit, and like
I can see that, yeah.
And then maybe she can't. Some people can't handle shit, dude.
Yeah,
some people can't. Like I said, the kind of shit I went through going to like. But the reason why I was able to handle that is just because I have like a strong constitution when it comes to that shit. Like of like be able to take criticism, be able to change at the moment. Like some people can't do that crap. That's what I would say. Like, go work in a creative place. Let me know how you turn out.
It is tough. Creative people can be tough. I remember
it's not the creative people that be tough. It's the fucking people above the creative people. It could be worse. Yeah. And now with fucking AI, forget about it. Sure. So yeah, it was fine. Cool. All right, Acolyte. I mean, episode 4, I don't really have much to talk about. It was just a lead up to episode 5. Episode 5 was the meat and potatoes of it so far. Tomorrow night is the next one. We are recording this a little early this week. case this is gonna drop on tomorrow early because it is July 4th, and I thought it'd be silly to release it on July 4th. Like
Yeah.
no one's gonna listen to it. Uh, so what do you think of Acolyte episode 5, Joseph?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was definitely picking up. You had seen 4, I think you saw the last 2 before I did. I agree 100% that the Jason from The Good Place is a great villain.
He's awesome, dude. Like
He's
that's so funny. Jason from The Good Place. Like he's the most silly character from that show. I loved it. What was he like? He was pretending to be like a wise Buddhist monk who didn't speak.
yeah, right. But he
Out
was
the
just
whole
like
time.
he hung out with some guy named Pillboy in Jacksonville, Florida. He's like,
Yeah, he's just some dirtbag from like
yeah, he was a dirtbag from Florida.
B-boy dancer or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Well, I'll tell you, the uniform, the helmet and stuff like that is really
so cool.
awesome.
That helmet, that fucking teeth on that. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Anyone says, even like people were saying, I guess Star Wars announced the helmet. Yeah. And people were like, oh, really? No one likes the show, huh, Chuds? Why'd that shit sell out in minutes when they announced it?
It looks amazing. It is like a
Funny,
horror
cool
movie.
designs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it like I love that it can like short out a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like whatever metal it has.
It looks like a Cenobite almost, you know. I mean, it's like a real.
It looks like Venom a little bit. I did.
Yeah. And I thought the character, even without the helmet on, he's really menacing.
Jacinto is the actor's name who played.
Yeah,
him.
he looks strong. He looks.
It's menacing. Fucking
yeah,
he's like fucking jacked. It's crazy, and that's funny too because they did a good job of like him being this like kind of slimy like.
He was like Spacin, like a space Jason.
No, I mean like when he was
he's like he was given the May poison and
yeah,
stuff.
he was like he was kind of doing like a little bit of like what Yoda was doing to Luke though, with the whole like I'm this goofy character or
yeah.
I'm being or like again the Kaiser Soze thing where verbal and then you find out he's Kaiser Soze. It was like a little bit of that.
Well, I thought it was great. I thought the lights
raped a bunch of men and kept them in the basement.
I thought the lightsaber.
Oh wait, no, that's Kevin Spacey. Sorry,
I thought the lightsaber battles were amazing. I was real surprised that they
I just love all like complain. I love all their little critiques. Or like the lightsaber is weak because they had to hide behind the trees. I'm like,
I thought it was kind of crazy that they
what the like shut the fuck up.
I was surprised they killed those characters, to be honest with you.
No, I think it's great. I think it makes sense. Because I think everyone's probably gonna die because the thing is, there's not supposed to be any mention of the Sith.
Right.
I think what we're gonna find out, though, in the end, is that he's not the Sith. He is the Acolyte.
Oh, I can see it. Yeah, because he says in the end of season, or not the end, but like towards the end of episode 5, he's like, I want my own pupil. I want an acolyte. And when he said that, I thought kind of what you're saying is like he probably was led by someone and now he wants.
Yeah, I bet he has a master.
Or maybe he killed his master and he doesn't know what to do next.
Well, again, if he has a master, it probably like Darth Plagueis or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Joseph, have you ever heard the story of Darth Plagueis? No Jedis don't talk about it. You'll never learn about it.
My family was taught only the Snoke stories. That's weird.
No, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Sits down with Palpatine.
Right.
And like
you sent me a TikTok about
what?
You sent me a TikTok about that. That was really good. Where it was like the movie could have been over in like 5 minutes. Like,
oh, because Anakin would have been like, "You're Sith,
right?
I'm gonna take you in." Yeah, that's the Sith Lord, and arrest him right there on the spot.
Right.
Well, then we wouldn't have the other movies. That would have changed a lot.
I liked the Acolyte.
It's still not. It's okay. I will say, the May and his sister thing is weak as fuck. I still think there's something weird about them. I still think that one of them is not a real person.
Yeah,
when they hugged each other, it looked bizarre.
It's weird. I
don't like one of them was just gonna morph into one.
Yeah, I honestly I can't get that out of my head when I'm watching it, and it's pretty distracting. But it's good. This is a solid Star Wars show. I
It's
yeah,
it's all right.
it's solid.
You can like it. I'm not gonna stop from liking it.
I think it's
I'm not gonna
it's in the top.
Harsh your mellow.
It's certainly in the top half of Star Wars shows I've seen, I would say.
I'll wait till it's over. I want to see where it goes and how it ends.
Yeah, true.
Right now, the 5th episode was great. First episode was okay. Second one was okay. The third one was awful.
Oh yeah.
Well, they go the power of one, the power
of
two,
episode
the
3 was
power
just
of many.
It was just like, and it came at a weird time. Like the episode itself sucked. Like even if you made that episode 7,
the power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
I kept expecting to see the Count, like the Count Von Count with a lightsaber. Like
the Count.
Yeah, 1, 2.
Oh, Count, you mean the one from the Sesame Street?
Yes, yeah. Count Von Count.
Oh,
Count
that's I didn't know his name was Count Von Count.
Yes, that's his name. They call him the Count because he loves to count.
The power of one, the power of many. I'm sorry. That is cringe as fuck.
It was. Everything about it was just sounding bad. Not to mention the fact that I
mean, again, I like the ideas there. I like the idea that of course it would be like a different group of people, and they would have their own beliefs, and that they didn't even call it the Force; they called it the Thread.
Yeah.
All right. The other biggest failure of this fucking show. There is no excuse for this shit. You don't introduce a freaking Wookiee Jedi and not show that motherfucker fight.
Yeah.
That is there. I was like, what?
Right.
It would be too expensive. But don't fucking have a Wookiee Jedi in it. Same for the movies.
It's like a really old guy buying a Lamborghini, never getting it out of first gear. It's like
I get, no, this was worse. I don't give a fuck about the old guy with the Lamborghini. I have no emotional attachment to that asshole.
True.
I want to see a Wookiee Jedi. I want to see a Wookiee. Like, wait, you can't show a scene of a guy in a fucking Wookiee suit, fucking just moving a lightsaber around.
Yeah, it's not hard.
It's too expensive. You get the main Sith guy get attacked by bugs.
Yeah.
I'm like, are we gonna get? Maybe I don't know. It's 3 episodes left. Maybe we'll get a flashback with him doing something.
Could be.
And again, the Carrie-Anne Moss thing is freaking weird because it was like you get this actress, you put her in all the promotional material, and then you kill her off. I mean, she's in the third one a bit.
But ever since Sean Bean was Ned Stark, I mean, that's been kind of
he was in a whole season. He was in an entire
season. That's true. He was.
He died. He wasn't in the last episode. His head was in the last episode. But he was in literally the majority of the season. And yes, it was a shock when he died. You get Carrie-Anne Moss, you put her on the marketing, and all of a sudden you kill her off literally in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It shows up in that third episode. I will say one of the coolest things, and I'm surprised no one picked up on it, when they're fighting and she pulls out the lightsaber, it's like they kind of snuck in some Matrix music in there. Like when it would do like a move and it would go, like you gotta rewatch that scene.
Oh yeah.
She pulls the green lightsaber out, and it was so sick the way it was done, because it's like we've seen lightsabers be used all the time in Star Wars.
Right.
But I thought that scene when she finally pulls the lightsaber out was so fucking cool. And they, like I said, they definitely were using Matrixy sound to it when she did it, and the way she posed was almost like Trinity with a lightsaber.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
In a way, she was.
I did not recognize the music, but it did have a vibe to it for sure.
Check it out. Recheck it. I'm surprised no one really picked up on that, but whatever. So yeah, episode 5 is awesome. I enjoyed it. I don't care about the I saw people's nitpicks. I don't give a fuck about them. Sure. The design of the guy is cool. He's one of the coolest freaking Sith to exist.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm curious where it ends. Like I said, my theory is that May and Osha are not the Acolytes at all. He's the Acolyte, and it will be revealed that he has a Sith Lord.
Yeah, that could be the case.
So
I think that'd be a good story.
What I feel like is that what's going to happen is he'll be defeated. The Jedi will erase any knowledge of him existing. That's why, people are like annoyed. They're like, why do you have Kiadi-Mundi in this when he is in episode 1 and he says, hasn't been a Sith
right.
And then Kiadi-Mundi's in this one. And well, okay, I hated, he sounded so weird. Like, okay, so you get Kiadi-Mundi and he has this very like, oh, there hasn't been a Jedi in 1,000 years. And then in this one, it's Kiadi-Mundi, but I thought it was just someone else because he's like, are you telling me that this? And I'm like, what? That's a different voice.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
That's
why would
funny.
he sound all of a sudden like proper, stoic, and he's like some like Popeye character,
right.
But they said in the credits or whatever it was Kiadi-Mundi, and I remember people got all angry. They're like, Kiadi-Mundi's race only lives to 50 years. This is canonically impossible. like, because Star Wars has never changed.
Yeah, they're pretty flexible.
They're pretty fluid when it comes to their
yeah.
I don't know, canon. Like that shit, even like the prequels don't line up with the original trilogy at all. Like there's so many holes that make no sense sometimes. But I have a feeling what we're gonna find out is they're gonna defeat this character.
Yeah.
Most of them are gonna be dead. So there won't be any like history or wipe it clean or whatever. No one who's currently in the Jedis will see the actual Sith Lord.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Like I would have it where like the Sith Lord shows up in the end, picks up the helmet, and says something like, "Oh, Darth Crunchy Head." I don't know. Darth Jason. Darth Jason.
I think you would see Darth Jason kind of struck down, and then you would see a lone shadowy figure reach and pick up the helmet, and you would just hear something ominous like Misa plans foiled again. And you would really
Misa go back and plan again.
And you would realize it was Jar Jar all along. So
if only they did that. That'd be amazing. Did you see that image? I don't know if you saw the thing I posted. It was someone did a Trump at the debate with Boss Nass from episode 1, like their faces, and he very much just looks like him now. Because I would not like to besmirch the name of Boss Nass.
Yeah.
All right, on to House of the Dragon.
Yeah. What do you think?
All right. It's okay. It's not as good so far as season 1. I like season 1 because it moved a lot, meaning like the story, like it was like
it developed.
It jumped a bunch of years, and like there's a lot of character building, and they did really good job with the transitions, and I don't know, we're 3 episodes in. It's okay. It's good. I mean, it's well done. I'm just not impressed right now at the show. I'm not like, oh my god. Then like I don't think I've seen I feel like I need to watch episode 2 again. I kind of just watched that on my phone when I was away.
Okay.
I feel like a show like that needs to be watched on
I thought screen. 2 was good. I like it. I like season 2. I'll tell you, I had trouble getting into season 1.
I don't hate it.
Yeah. No, I had trouble getting into season 1, but once I got into it, I really liked it a bunch.
Well, I did not like that first episode of season 1, and by season 2, it picked up. I mean, not the first episode of the show, season 1. I remember being like, I don't know if I like this. This is like just, I don't know, Game of Thrones cliche being thrown in here. But then by like 2 and 3, I was like, all right, this show's amazing. And then it just kept on going. This season's like okay. I feel like okay, so everybody's pissed about let me pull up IMDb because I don't remember any of these characters' names.
I can't remember if it's the guy with silver hair, name with a name starts with an A, or if it's that guy with the silver
Argon
hair.
or Egon. Argon, Prince Damon.
Aemon,
okay,
Igon.
So Rhaena's son gets killed by Alicent's son. the
Yeah.
one-eyed guy. And then, she wants revenge, and she basically, well, they like it was all done by Damon, right? Damon's the guy who hires the assassin.
Yes.
They were
Yeah.
supposed to kill. Who were they supposed to kill? They were supposed to kill like
They were supposed to kill the male heir.
they weren't always there to kill the kid. Like
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, because
I thought they were not. I thought they were there to kill like maybe not the king, but like maybe his wife or something. I thought
I thought they were there to because it was child for a child. Like they killed.
Did they kill him? I'm trying to forget. Did they kill?
Well, at the end of season 1, who was the kid that got? Wasn't it the queen's?
It was.
Son that got
it
killed
was
on the
Rhaenyra's,
dragon,
like younger son. The one.
Yeah.
It was the one that stabbed. Man, what's this guy's name? The guy who has one eye. Aemon.
Yeah.
He was the one who stabbed when they got into that scuffle, and he stabbed Aemon in the eye. It was like such a gross scene.
It was
so fucked up.
It was, yeah.
And then I loved it. He grew up to be this like fucking huge guy. He just like, and then like he's like tall. He looks like he'd kill you. And the other kid was like just this little runt still. And even Aemon's dragon is like massive, and like the kid had like, I don't know, Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon, and they had that dragon fight in the end of season,
right?
In the end of the first season, and he ended up killing the dragon and the kid.
Yeah, and so I think that's why they snuck in, and they were going to do a kid for a kid.
But they were there like, does anyone acknowledge that her kid was murdered? No one gives a shit that her kid was murdered.
Yeah, I don't think they care. Honestly, I think that's like that's like, well, that was in the past,
Well, I feel like we're seeing it more from right now. I feel like we're seeing it more from the perspective of the the king. And I mean, they're basically, where are they right now? They're basically where the throne is, right? What is it? Westeros?
Westeros is the country, and the Iron Throne is in what's the name of that?
Or some bullshit. I
feel
like they've been focusing more on that family, so we're seeing it from like that perspective, and we haven't really seen it. We've only seen a little bit, I feel like, from Rhaenyra's. Like we haven't.
But Rhaenyra's clearly made out to be the good one. Like Rhaenyra, even at the end of episode 3, like Rhaenyra really knows what's going. The whole thing started with a mistake. Like Alicent thought that the dying guy was talking about her son, but he was really just telling a story about the Song of Ice and Fire. He was retelling a story about the old Aegon.
Yeah, right. It really should have been Rhaenyra who's the queen.
Yeah.
And she gave it to her son, who's a schmuck.
Yeah, like a psycho. Yeah.
I mean, he's I would say he's not
Joffrey level.
Joffrey bad.
Joffrey,
who was just like a little shit, like just a repugnant, awful person. He's just a drunk. Like he's like the funny thing is you could probably hang out with the guy and like probably get away with making jokes and shit until he sobers up and then he kills you. But like you could probably like he likes having a good time. He's not a serious person. Like they're even like he's talking about going into battle, and even everyone's like, "Yeah, okay, buddy." Like,
right?
Like we'll send your brother. Your brother's the one that we trust in battle. You're kind of a schmuck.
Yeah. Like, well, you could tell.
I love his knights were even joking. The one that he jokes with all the time, and they were like, they got all like serious because like I guess they aren't supposed to have sex with anyone. Like,
right? Yeah. Vow of chastity or whatever.
Yeah, they're like, we hang out with the party king all the time. How are we not getting laid? They go to the whorehouse with the squire, and they Aegon with his that he likes to mommy with.
Right. Well, I do agree that
Aemon, season, not Aegon, Aemon, sorry.
I never can keep their characters straight. The names. I like it. I like this. I think the scenery is great, or the setting.
Oh, the show. I mean, it's incredible.
It looks great.
The only thing that did not look good in the last episode was when the one daughter was riding the dragon and she was scouting. Is it Bela? Who was the one riding? They had to ride the dragon and kind of like spy. And the guys were like, hiding in the trees.
Yeah.
It just looks so fake when she was kind of like looking around. I
Yeah.
don't know. They didn't do a good job of like. They got to add some like. All they have to do is like add some filter or something. Just make it
Something,
look like
yeah.
there's like air flowing. It doesn't look like she's just
Right.
you know.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But overall, I mean, the show's like looks great. Yeah, the conversation between Raina
Alice.
and Allison in the end of the last episode. I mean, it is kind of funny to watch them talk and everything, and it's like weird. It's like she snuck in and like,
Yeah.
I mean, they were like best friends and everything. And
Right.
I'm curious where the show will go. I wonder if they will do another time jump in any way.
I don't know, but I
I don't know
do.
what their plan is, like how many years they plan, because they're already working on another. They have another spinoff.
Yeah. Um, I forget what that one's about. I think this one ends in like the end of the dragons, you know. I
Yeah,
think
because
that
they hinted at the 3 dragon eggs.
yep.
That and it is. It's been confirmed that those are the dragon eggs that Daenerys gets in Game of Thrones in the first season.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm assuming that the House of the Dragon leads to the end of Dragons, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like,
That makes sense. Everything
and you
about that makes
said you
sense.
told me before we were talking about this before we recorded this that this takes place like 170 something years in the
The
past.
yeah, the Wikipedia article I read linked to a couple of and it was 172 years before Daenerys was born. So about, I mean,
Well, maybe
ballpark
like
200 years.
190, almost 200 years.
Yeah, so about 200 years before
Because by the time you get to Game
what
of
we've seen.
Thrones, the dragons are talked about like as if they were a myth. Like,
Yes.
no way they were real. Like, yeah, there's like drawings and written, but maybe it was just something to scare children. Like, they must have like destroyed all the bones or something of these.
Well,
Aren't
gosh,
them?
if I remember right, and I can't remember because I did read the books. I think the average person thought they were myths, but there were some people, mostly like, you know,
Well,
nobility,
I would
that were
imagine
like,
like the people in the libraries and stuff knew that they were.
yeah, and there were, I think there was a scene where there were bones,
But
dragon
you're dumb.
bones.
But you're typical dumb fuck,
Exactly.
serial
Yeah.
killer guy, and the
And even like the younger, like Arya and Bran Stark and like even they would have been like there were myths, you know, like they because they probably had no firsthand knowledge of them and
Well, that was always a great thing about the original Game of Thrones show was one, it worked perfectly with the budget being like they probably weren't given that big of a budget in the first
right.
season. But as the seasons go on, that's when you get like the giant and the wolves are big.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then now there's dragons and then there's some other creatures. And it becomes more magical by the end. And it was like, yeah, because I remember talking to my this guy I worked with. This was when Game of Thrones first aired. So this is like
yeah.
2011 or whatever. And I asked him, I said, like, I'm like, all right, so basically it's like Lord of the Rings with boobs and cursing,
Right.
but with no, but like what? There's like no dragons or anything like that. He's like, no, actually, you will get that. Like that will
Yeah.
happen. And I was like, oh, really? And it worked perfectly with the show because as the show did better, you just
Right. They could get the budget.
the budget was just got so much bigger. Like, go watch that first season,
Oh yeah.
Game of Thrones. It's you probably watch it, you'd be like, okay, it's not like Star Trek Next Generation first season where everything looks
Right.
like filmed on shitty sets, but it's not. It's nowhere near what you're getting. It's nowhere
Yeah.
near what you're getting with this show. This show, like straight out the gate with House of Dragons, looks like
Oh yeah.
it looks
Real
even
nice.
better than the original Game of Thrones show.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no, I like it a lot. Like I said, it hasn't. I'm not blown away by it yet. Season
Yeah.
two,
Yeah.
nothing. I feel like. Do you feel like there's been any big moments yet that like?
Nah. No big moments, but like I said, I do like it a lot. Uh and I like how it's kind of I like where it's going because like
That scene in the beginning of this episode when they're like, there's these two groups and they're fighting over like they're fighting. They like the guy was calling them like a baby killer or something, or saying like
yeah.
you're. Who was that? She's like random people from like different villages or something.
Yeah, I thought it was just supposed to illustrate like what was going on.
Remember the next scene they show, one of them was dead, and I was trying to figure out which one was the one who was killed.
Oh,
I
that's
had
a
a
good
hard time.
question.
I was trying to look at his crest, and I was like, Is it the one that called the other person the queen, a baby killer or whatever? Was that the one that was killed, or was it the other?
Yeah. Geez, I don't know. I watched it. I watched the episode tonight. I kind of forgot about it last night and watched it this evening. And usually I like rewind a
They're
lot and go
long.
back, and
They're
this
long episodes.
it was a long one. I mean, I know it was a solid hour, but
Longer.
I thought this was just like random people that we don't necessarily. Yeah, it says the feuding Brackens and Blackwoods engaged in a deadly battle over a minor territorial dispute. Um, and yeah, I don't think we're supposed to know who they are.
Okay. Now the other thing too is, what did you think of seeing the North in the first episode? Was that a little weird? Did you feel like that was pointless to the show?
Yeah, so far, yeah, and I was
like, it was like,
that...
are they just throwing this in there so people are like it's like a nod to the other show, like, look, this is existing still, like the wall and everything, and the star. I'm assuming that was a Stark, or
yeah,
supposed to be a Stark, and
I don't know. I'm wondering if we see like the beginning of the wildings here, the people that leave Westeros and go live north of the wall. Because those were just like fugitives or people from.
I just don't know if it makes sense for this show.
Yeah.
It's so focused on this families. I don't know. I felt like it was just the creators, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Show this scene and show this existing, and like,
I was excited to see it, but it's gone nowhere. It's added
it
nothing.
It seemed like it was really necessary, because it's like, it's 200 years in the past. Yeah, I guess every years they were talking about winter is coming, but
yeah,
not for 200 years. Like,
well, they didn't know that at the time, but yeah, we know it. So
yeah. I don't know. It was cool, but at the same time, I was like wondering, is this, maybe there's like a payoff? I don't know. Hopefully. I just hope they don't, like, at the end of the season they go back to it and there's like a White Walker. I'm like, what? Come on. There's no reason. Like, really? That would be stupid. Like,
yeah, no, I agree.
It's not necessary for this show. Like, all right. Speaking of White Walkers, the debate, where Joe Biden, right out the gate, me and my wife were watching it, and right out the gate, Joe Biden kind of just fumbles his way out, literally, like they just pushed a confused person out. I'm not trying to be insulting. That's exactly what it looked like. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Right out the gate. He didn't even say anything yet. He just looked weird and confused. I love when Trump came in, though. He was just like slouchy and just fucking twinge faced, and I don't know. It's just fun. He looks like shit too. But like, this debate was one of the most absolutely one of the most horrible things I ever watched.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's worth. This or 9/11. I'm just kidding. 9/11 is pretty bad. This was
I went to go see a concert the night of the debate, and I set my DVR or
you actually watched the whole debate. You didn't do some bullshit like skimming.
I watched it, but I wish I'd watched it. I wish I'd been able to watch it live, because I went into it knowing it was a disaster. So I can't tell if
we had to go pick up my kid from somewhere. And so I listened to most of the debate like it was on the radio. So I didn't have to see Trump's little fucking weird faces he makes, his little puff lips and little smirks and everything. And I have to see Joe Biden like look like he's staring into God knows what. I was like, man, give this man a lozenge. What's going on?
Yeah.
This debate, the thing I hate the most about this debate was this was, so for years, and I'm a little guilty of it too, especially in the primary in 2020. I did not want Biden to be nominee. I felt like he was too old. He didn't sound as coherent as he used to. And I don't know. I wanted Bernie, but whatever. Bernie. The funny thing is, Bernie's is older than Biden, but he's more coherent than Biden is. That's just unfortunately how it is. That's how people age. There's people are old as shit, and they look like they're old as shit, and they're only like 80 and they die. And then there's people who are like 95 and they look, they think they were like in their 70s, and they live they live up to like 100 or something. You know, it's like it's how unfortunately and how it is. And then there's people don't even make it to 70. It's like it's sad. But like watching this debate, just like every dipshit that said every dipshit that would say things about Biden for years was proven true in this debate, and that's what pissed me off the most.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
Everything about every lie about him being a complete mush brain to being incoherent and being old and tired, it was all there, and it was awful, and it drives me nuts because it gave Trump a cover for. I mean, he's like tweeting out he was amazing. He's like he posted a thing like, "Oh, everyone's attacking Biden and not talking about how amazing I was."
Yeah,
it's like, dude, the thing that pisses me off about this is that no one's talking about what a fucking lying piece of shit you are. He's using fucking Palestinian as a racial slur. He tried doing that again at a rally. Trump, he said that Chuck Schumer, who is a Jew, but a bad Jew, he's more like a Palestinian.
Right.
What the fuck is? And I said, I was talking about this. I was like, any of these people who scream out like Genocide Joe and all that stuff, like you could say what you want about his policies in Israel and everything and how he's handled it. But like I didn't hear anything from those people who, when Trump uses the term Palestinian as meant to be an insult to someone, like using a specific group of people and claiming like, oh, you're like this. Like this guy is such a fucking racist. Do you think he's going to be better for the Palestinians if he gets back in?
Yeah.
And I didn't hear a fucking peep from any of those people. It's like
it's the debate was a disaster. I mean, like honestly, if it had gone differently, we would be talking about like Biden with a 3-4 point lead, by now.
Would it? I don't think it would. I don't think it would have made a difference in the polls. I just think it would. I still think the media would say that they would still begin, even if Biden was more coherent, didn't have like wasn't slurring his words as much, actually got around what he wanted to say, and was more coherent. They would still use how they would go in and say Biden, who's off his step a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, they wouldn't be. Would they be calling for him to resign? Probably not. But I don't think it would have changed the polls at all. I think we would just have better clips of Biden insulting Trump instead of really bad misfires where like Biden's like, he's a 235 pounds, 6'6", and it's like I knew what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
It collapsed, and it was like, oh no.
Yeah,
it was so sad.
It was tough. I will say, and I could be wrong, and I'm not wishful thinking my way out of it, but I think for a lot of people, the die is cast on this one.
Oh, I don't think it'll make a difference. I mean, I think it hurts. It's not good for the incumbent though to have everyone in the media constantly saying he should resign. That's not good. That's not good.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, like, I think where Biden really screwed up right out the gate, even if he still sounded the same, right out the gate, he should have said, I think it is an insult and an embarrassment that I have to debate this criminal.
Yeah. Should have come out harder.
I don't have to take this man seriously. This man had organized an attack on our Capitol and our police and our people and damaged threatened to have our politicians killed, whatever. He could have went right out of the gate and called them a convicted felon, and it would have changed the whole fucking debate. Trump would have been like, he would have went nuts. Trump.
For sure.
Completely insane.
That's what Biden did last time around.
He said that. He should have said right out the gate, this is an embarrassment and it's an insult. And I don't understand why the Republican Party is nominating a convicted felon with 34 convictions. Like written better, of course. I'm not a professional politician. But like that should have been right out the fucking gate. And I'll tell you this, that people are talking about like Kamala Harris taking his place. No, she's terrible. They interviewed her afterwards.
Yeah.
I saw an interview with her afterwards.
Right.
And she's like, they're asking her, and she does that weird little, like, she's like not really sure. And they're like, she's like, well, he was a little bad, but he picked up after. I'm like, the fuck you doing? You don't do that. This is what you say. Someone says to you, Vice President Kamala, or how they properly refer to her.
Right.
What do you have to say about the debates? How do you think Joe Biden's performance was? You don't even fucking talk about Joe Biden. You just attack Donald Trump. That's it. You could say, you know what? I think what's most important is the fact that how much Donald Trump has lied to the public tonight. Right. You don't fucking sit there and take the bait from the media and be like,
no, you don't even have that debate.
Biden, he was okay and some missteps. No, you don't fucking even talk about Biden. And you could they could try to needle and say, well, can you answer the question about Joe Biden? And then it could be like, well, I think it's more important that we talk about what a danger Donald Trump is to this country, or the fact that he will bring in Project 2025, or, just talk about that. You talk about your fucking opponent. You don't even give them a fucking minute. Because now you got a clip of fucking Kamala Harris saying, yeah, he was kind of shitty. He sucked. She didn't say that, but
no, but that's
might as well have.
There. Yeah.
This is why she sucks. I was like, she's bad at this. This is why. Because I remember like when she was on stage with Tulsi Gabbard, and like, and she didn't have, and people were like cheering her, like, oh wow, bravo. She didn't say anything good in a retort to Tulsi at all. I was like, oh my God, she's not good at this.
Yeah, I would say
she has bad people working for her. I'm like,
but Biden does better against Trump than other people, to be honest with you. I mean, he just does. I mean, he always is.
If you what the fuck you're talking about that debate?
No, I'm just saying he polls better. Like historically, if you put Trump against any Democrat, Biden does the best.
Isn't Trump polling better than Biden and consistently polling better than Biden?
Yeah, he has been, but no Democrat does better than Biden.
I thought that the whole joke is that a generic Democrat does better than Trump.
A generic one does, but not a specific one.
So if you said Gavin Newsom, he would poll lower than Trump.
Yes.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say about this. I don't know. Like, people are telling him to drop out. I don't think it's a good idea for him to drop out. There's this thing called what's his face? Johnson.
Yeah.
Running. And then Robert Kennedy getting assassinated. And then having what was it, like Humphrey or something, and he just gets completely wiped out by Nixon. Like, this is like scary shit. And the thing that pisses me off the most though about the whole thing is like, okay, so you got all these papers, like New York Times, like, oh, as a duty to his country, Biden should drop out. It's like, how come no one's saying like, hey, the convicted felon maybe shouldn't be allowed to run for president?
Yeah. Well, the Philadelphia Inquirer ran an editorial like
but they're not the New York Times.
No, they're not. I thought that was real bullshit. Like
why should he drop out? I think like, look at fucking Mitch McConnell. He came on stage and he froze like multiple times in front of in speeches, just froze dead. And no one ever once said, as a duty, Mitch McConnell should resign from the seat. No one said that. You didn't see that ever. And I tell this, there's no such thing as a fucking liberal media. There's no such thing.
For sure.
Media is owned by corporations, and the leaders of that are all fucking Republicans. And they do not. It's interesting. I find it interesting that Biden, who probably the most union-friendly president in decades.
Oh yeah.
Major corporations are like, maybe Biden should resign. Or the fact that like during the Trump years, all these like consolidations happened. Like, I don't think the Fox Disney merger would happen under the Biden administration.
No.
And it's actually a fact is that there were a couple of deals that didn't happen. And now I'm seeing again the Paramount merger with WB, which happened to own CNN. We're talking about that again. I hope they're probably like, we hope Trump gets back in, because then that'll probably happen.
Yeah, they've got to be hoping for that. I thought it was bullshit when the New York Times and other people called for him to step down.
fucking trash paper. It really
Well,
is.
the news side is different than the editorial side. The editorial
Yeah,
side
but
has always been,
the editorial is one that gets all the fucking
yeah,
attention. That's the
yeah,
problem.
it is. It's not good. Um, I don't know what to say about the debate other than I'm hoping that it doesn't. I'm hoping it doesn't move the needle as much as I fear it does.
Well, my problem again with Biden is like right out the gate, he should even with like he should just straight up just call Trump out on everything in the beginning, and it wasn't until like an hour that he brought up like the prostitution, not the sleeping with the porn star and everything. And then
Yeah.
like Trump denies it, like you fucking like it's like a proven fact, dude.
It's ridiculous
I
the
even
the
know about
leeway they
that's a
give him.
fact. My boss worked for a thing. He was working with Stormy Daniels. He picked up from the airport, and she said to him, "I fucked Donald Trump the night before." And this was around
Right.
2006. This was
Yeah.
around the time Melania was pregnant with Barron. All this shit was going down. I'm not saying that my story makes it true. It's all the other evidence that makes it true. And this fucker is lying on stage.
Yeah. I thought that was weird.
He's lying on stage about ripping the babies out of wombs, and I'm like, and the problem is Biden. This is why Biden it's bad because he does not have the ability to retaliate and say like quickly on his feet. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
He doesn't have the ability to retaliate against Trump
Yeah,
on all Trump's lies. A more coherent person would be able to be like, none of that. No one's doing that. Why are you lying about this? He called Trump a liar a bunch of times, which I'm glad. It's always been it's interesting. In the past, they would always say like an untruth. They would never use the word lie, politicians. They would never
yeah.
say like that person's lying. But with Trump, it's like, no, this motherfucker is lying.
Biden's gotten a lot more forceful with that. He just needs to keep doing it. He needs to keep doing it, you know?
Yeah. And then I'm like, wait, why is fucking Trump the one that had the closing argument?
Coin toss.
Oh fuck, I hate that shit.
They did a coin toss and he won. So
I don't know, man. I'm not liking this at all. It's giving me bad. It's giving me a lot of anxiety. I think the American public is kind of stupid as a whole, and
yeah,
like they work on a lot of people work on vibes, and as shitty as Trump was at the debate, he was the one who came off like coherent, even in his ramblings. His ramblings, you could hear him, you can understand what he was saying.
They said that was true, that Trump actually had a pretty good debate, even if you don't count that he lied all the time. Like
It doesn't matter. See, the thing
right.
about debates, I don't think people realize that it's like almost like a sport. It doesn't even matter if the winner of the so-called debate has nothing to do with being honest, telling the truth, having the correct argument. It's more of just like how you did.
Yeah. Debates are weird. I mean, like no one believes that like a great debate will equal a great president.
And this debate was kind of stupid. It didn't give enough time for them to talk. It didn't give enough time. I don't know, like there was no fact checking done. And I know someone was like, "Well, Biden shouldn't have went fact check." No, but they're a news organization. They should have something on the bottom that says like Trump is lying. Like actually, no, this has never happened before. There should be like a real news network that actually gives a shit should be fact checking both candidates. And even if they're not even doing it, they should have like something on the bottom saying like, this is not clear. It I don't know. It was really disheartening. It reminded me. Are you all right, dude?
Yeah. I have I don't know why, but I got a cough like just in the last 15 minutes.
You get COVID from this? No,
I don't feel sick at all. It's like a tickle
I
in
know,
my throat.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, did Biden get COVID? Like he sounded sick.
Well,
came out, his voice was all hoarse. I'm like, give this man a fucking like a lozenge.
Yeah, the problem is he had so much time to prepare for it. I mean, like, look, the guy's older. I get that, like, your stamina or whatever it might be, but he had time to nap. He had time to, get plenty of rest. He had time to.
So bad in this one.
Yeah.
Every negative thing that's been said about his cognitive
Yeah.
abilities over the past couple of years was like proven right to the, and it pisses me off so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well,
then he I know we're gonna talk about this later. We'll get to this. I guess it's part of the debate fallout. So we'll get into the whole SCOTUS ruling in a second.
yeah.
Talk about those. But one of the rulings that went out today was the one about basically this, what was it exactly? It was like it clears Trump of like,
It said that a president has absolute immunity during his time in office.
if they do
If
like an official act.
if it's an official act. And
Like
then
if
it said
Trump were
that's
to go steal a candy bar on his own, he would get in trouble. But if he had like SEAL Team 6 steal his candy bar,
yeah,
it would be an official act.
right. I think basically that's it, like in a nutshell. And look, I do get how presidents should have immunity for certain things, because like a lot of politicians do. Like if like
But
when
this immunity is for January 6th.
yeah, but when, like, okay, here's the example I'll use. When Clinton ordered that I know it wasn't Clinton personally, but like when they ordered the Waco Branch Davidian takedown and people got killed during it,
Yeah.
there was no, it was Trump, I mean not Trump, the Clinton, the Janet Reno, they were immune. They were just immune. They were acting in good faith, doing what they, everything, they did everything by the book. They were acting in good faith. And similarly, like if Obama had ordered that bin Laden be taken out, and in the course of that happening, an innocent kid got killed. The helicopter landed. Biden would have. I mean, Obama would have been immune from prosecution. No, and like so there's the idea of like presidents being immune makes sense, and it's always been that way. I mean, like a lot of people, but those are official acts, and the weirdness here is that like Trump is using, if the Supreme Court's ruling were in effect back when Nixon was president, Nixon never would. Yeah, everything Nixon did would have been legal.
Yeah, because Trump now, it was immediately Trump was like trying to get out of his New York thing, trying to be like, oh, well, this was part of me being president, and actually that's not true.
None of it makes any sense, because like and that's where it gets like a little stickier, is like it is weird to think about like what's an official act. Like if he shows up at a ceremony to honor a veteran and he smacks a kid, like is that should be legal now, right? Because he's there in an official capacity. He's doing the kid was crying, and Trump just like slaps
it's like
him.
basically giving like the president's like a king now and can just do whatever the fuck they want.
Well, it is.
In theory, like if Biden wants to, he could have Trump executed.
And I know a lot of people
that's not going to happen, but
no, but what could happen is Biden could say, hey, you know what? I want Clarence Thomas's taxes audited.
Or he could say, I'm adding 6 judges right now.
Yeah. And he can do like a lot of things. And
well, guess what?
Yeah,
he's not going to do shit, because we just saw. So he came out tonight to do, just when you thought like, oh man, the debate performance was kind of crap and this sucks. Biden came out, gave a response to the Supreme Court decision. He quoted Sotomayor's dissent, said he agrees with it, and he placed it all. He basically left it that he himself is not going to do shit, that he's not going to powers, unlike the other guy, and he placed it on the American voter. And I was like, You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
First of all, Republican hasn't won a popular vote. They won 2 presidencies over the past 2 decades.
Right.
They haven't won the popular vote in the past 2 decades either. So voting, that's not the answer. That should not be on the American people. You motherfucker are the president. You have power. You possess power right now.
Yeah.
And your Supreme Court literally just handed you a bunch of power.
It's frustrating that
he didn't even have to say. All he had to do tonight was say he could have did the whole thing. He could say voting's important. That's fine. But he could have said at least like my administration is going to be looking into this, and we're going to be coming up. We're going to be coming back in the next couple of days with a decision on how we're going to handle the court.
Yeah.
And he didn't do that. He didn't do anything. He just said this bullshit. He said it's up to the voters. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is like worse than when Scalia died and Obama like never didn't use a recess appointment, put anyone in, let Mitch McConnell steamroll him. He basically said, well, I'll let the voters decide. And it's like,
that was frustrating.
Fuck, man. This is like that meme where like the person's drowning and the person grabbing, but then he like high fives you and then you drown. I mean, like,
well, I will say, Biden's in a weird position because he won his first term by basically saying like, look, I'm normal and I'm traditional and
we're not living in normal times.
I know. I'm just saying like that's how he won his first term is he's like, it's either me or chaos, But now it's his second term and he's trying to get the job again. And he's saying like it's either me or chaos, but like he never dealt with the chaos. You know what I mean? Like we put all our faith in these institutions. The courts will take care of Trump. The DOJ will take care of it.
Yeah,
but none of that ever happened.
He even just threatened the court years ago that he was going to stack the court.
Yeah.
That would have been enough to change the conversation.
Well, that's what he should have done is he should have tonight said, you know what? I'm putting together, I'm asking my legal team to look at adding additional justices.
Yeah, the court's imbalanced.
Yeah.
And but no, he didn't do that. He didn't do any of that. He just came out, says, I agree with the dissent from Sotomayor. Yeah, that's great. And I keep descending. Who needs power? And I'm just some guy. I don't know what to do here. You're the fucking president.
Yeah.
This is the kind of shit. See, the thing is, Trump, the joke is about Trump is Trump doesn't do anything. Trump's a lying sack of shit. He wants to play golf all day. He wants to get he's going to sign for a bigger tax cut. He wants his family to make as much money as possible, make illegal deals. He'll tell his followers he's going to do all these things. He's not going to do any of that. But his dumbass supporters will believe everything he says, and that's all it takes. Biden doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
He could have just said, we're looking into it, and that would have been like the beginning of something. To me, it was like, why even bother to come out tonight and talk?
Well, I think, and here's where we maybe disagree a little, is I think it was helpful because I did watch some of the 10 p.m. news shows and stuff like that, and they were talking about that, and they were not talking about the debate. I'm just, look, I mean, that is something.
I guess it would be worse if he didn't say anything, but I just feel I'm just frustrated by the whole thing.
I'm super frustrated. I wish he had
done. Let me tell you, did you see that photo of that couple? I just want to say, like,
yeah.
You know what the average voter is? This guy posted something that was really fucking funny, and I think he really nailed it. This is let me see if I can find it. It's from this guy, Brandon 93 Smith.
Yeah.
It's a photo of this couple. They're probably like close to middle age or whatever, probably in their mid late 30s. Said, this is a very real type. They smoke weed, daughter's on birth control, They like guns. They hate woke, but love the gay people in their lives. Some are old school style swingers. They plan their vacations around UFC events. Loved Trump. I don't know if that means love Trump or loved Trump, past tense.
Yeah.
Could not tell you Romney's running mate. These people, and it's a picture of, they look like 90% of the parents at my son's old elementary school in
yeah. Yeah. Well, they look like, I was going to say, whenever I go to like, what's that street in Plano, Legacy West or something like that. Whenever I go to like that's what I see is like this.
Yeah.
Group,
and do you think those people are those your voters you're talking about?
No, but look, they were always going to vote for Trump. They are. That's done. That's like.
But there's so many of these type of people, and they get their news from like Joe Rogan. Like,
yeah, but you don't have to. If Biden loses Texas by 1 vote or 1 million, it doesn't matter. I know. I'm just saying, like,
these people are everywhere. They're everywhere. These type of they're fucking everywhere. And on this time, when Biden says vote, like, yeah, vote. That's great, but you have to do something. You're the president. You have power currently, right now, in the present moment. You're the president technically till January of 2025. Yeah. You have no fucking excuse. Now, I guess, okay, so they changed the conversation, like you said. They're not talking about the debate now. Now they're talking about Biden coming out. But was it positive about Biden? Was it positive, or did they just attack how he looked and said he sounded? I mean, he sounded okay. He sounded fine. I mean, it wasn't.
They just talked about how rare it is for president to go after the Supreme Court, and how these are the Supreme Court's feeling empowered, and Biden, he has they called his statement like forceful and stuff. A lot of it's just talking, but like that almost to me didn't matter so much as like yesterday the debate was like, I
mean, the minute the debate ended, literally every network was demanding that this guy resigns immediately.
But they weren't doing that tonight. They were talking about like what Biden is doing, what he can do with the Supreme Court and stuff. So look, I know that is a very minor thing.
Even but like, if Biden gets reelected, which I hope he does for our sake, I hope he gets reelected, because I'd rather have a do nothing Biden for 4 years than a psychotic GOP and Trump.
Yeah,
or God knows what, because they don't intend on just coming back. This is gonna be like the last election. Like, that's not hyperbole. That's a fact.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's scary shit. It really scares the shit out of me. And it's unfortunate that, I'll say this. I keep seeing all these dipshits saying that, like, Biden said that he would only run for 1 term and I'm like, I don't remember him ever fucking saying that he would only run for 1 term.
He never said that.
Never fucking said that. Anyway, some offhand remark from some aide.
No, a lot of pundits said, think of voting for him this way. Like, I heard a lot of pundits. I never heard that from Biden.
Never fucking said, I'm only
never said that.
Term.
Never said it.
I'm gonna hand the baton off to whoever after. He never fucking said that. I mean, say what you want about him. Holding him to that is complete bullshit. That never came out of his mouth in any official capacity. If it was ever said, it's secondhand fucking talk. There's no speech of him saying running for 1 term. He said he was in transitional president.
There's no plan B here.
Different.
Like, if it's not Biden, then what are you going to do? You're going to skip over a black woman to go with?
Well, that's what I said, that as much as like Kamala Harris kind of annoys me, she's the candidate because okay, so you got Trump claiming that he's great with minorities, which is hysterical. Again, I really trying to like, what does he think a black job is?
Right.
Or a Hispanic job? I have a feeling these jobs are not good jobs.
There's a bunch on TikTok of like just like regular people working in an office where you see like a black person working at a computer, and you see like one of their white coworkers like looking around the corner, like like they're going after that job or something.
The black job.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get, again, like with Trump, it's hard. Like I get what he's trying to say.
It's that guy that works in the train car.
He's talking about black employment, I suppose, but
no, it doesn't sound. It just sounds really funny how he says it. It's like black jobs. You know what they are.
Crazy.
It's insane, and it's insane that he could say things like he's a bad Palestinian, like, and not get any like anyone call him out of like, wow, you're like a racist piece of shit.
I think, and I'll put myself in this group. There's so much Trump. Like, look, if you like Trump, you're still defending him or whatever. But like, if you dislike Trump, it's exhausting being outraged all the time about.
I know, that's what I mean. I'm tired of it, and Biden's not helping.
Yeah,
he's not helping the situation. Let me tell you, like, again, too, like this fucking guy the whole time is kissing Putin's ass on stage.
Yeah,
kissing Putin's ass on stage in a debate. I was like, what the fuck? I am like done. If this fucking guy gets back in, I'm done. I'm not looking at fucking politics anymore. What's the point? What do you do? Oh, and Mueller we trust? It's over, dude. It's over.
I was thinking about that today.
He'll get arrested. He'll be locked up. Like and subscribe. The fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah. If the country reelects Trump, if the country puts Trump back in, then
insane.
Then yeah, I don't know what to say. Like I don't know what to say.
I am gonna like just I'm gonna like I don't know, like you're only on this earth this long. I'm not gonna fucking give this as long as he like fucking doesn't kill people or whatever or lock people up.
I mean he will.
I know, but I mean like I'm gonna like I can't deal with this. I'm not gonna like there's no point.
Like I feel
and like no solution to this. There's no like the whole entire time he was president, there was always that like, oh, he'll be impeached, oh, he'll get arrested. None of that happened.
Yeah.
What?
None of that happened.
Yeah, but at least there was always this like little like carrot. But
perhaps,
now he gets in, it's done. It's done. There's no. You just gotta wait till he drops dead, and who knows? He'll live forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Floating head in a jar.
I get real frustrated, like kind of despondent about it.
What?
It's real. It is easy to get real despondent over like.
Well, I just like I would see all these dipshits like they would be okay with this in the end. Like all these so-called leftists, all these so-called like progressives, like they're sitting there calling for Biden to resign and everything, and it's like, dude, just vote for the fucking half corpse. Make sure he gets in. And that's it. We can't let the psychopath back in because it's not even just him. It's his administration. It's the Republicans.
The other thing that's frustrating to me is Gavin Newsom has tried to put up a national profile and everything, but like Democrats they should have been for the last 4 years cultivating a new generation of leaders. They had Mayor Pete. They have that Gretchen.
Pete's not that great. Like
he's fine. Look, he does not need to be president or anything like that. But like they have
fine for what he is. But I mean, like that's not your next. I mean, listen, if he runs and he's the candidate, yeah, I'll vote for him. But there's got to be other people.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, didn't AOC announce that I know I saw Ilhan Omar announced they're going to impeach or put in for impeachment of. I mean, it won't go anywhere.
It won't go anywhere, but it's good to do stuff like that. Like,
yeah, I mean, we'll see how much attention it gets since you always had like Marjorie Taylor Greene putting in impeachments for Biden for no reason. At least this one has like legit. I mean, this guy, this fucking Clarence Thomas is so fucking corrupt. When I was away, I saw one of the votes that had something to do with where it was like all 8 judges except for him.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
It was the firearms to like
domestic abusers,
and he was the one that dissented against it. It's like it's like why would you dissent against that? That's just like an easy layup. It's like I'm a piece of shit. This is my character. I have to be just straight up
Well,
evil.
he got his I think he got a memo that said like you will never vote against guns. Yeah, it was a ban on
Yeah,
domestic
probably.
abusers possessing guns is found to be constitutional. And even here's
If you want that Winnebago, that
right,
$4 million
even
Winnebago, you're gonna have to.
Alito and Gorsuch both agreed that that it's fine to prevent even when Gorsuch and
It
Alito
wasn't just a.
are
Yeah, I mean, you had like all
it
four
was
other.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody except him. Yeah, you're right. That's probably it. He probably got a memo like you will never vote against guns.
Yeah.
We will. You like your bribes. You like your money.
Yeah.
It's just
Right.
insane how they're able to be so corrupt. That's the other thing that drives me nuts. Like Biden should be out there being like, "This is an illegitimate court. You have Clarence Thomas. It is a fact that this man has taken bribes over the years." They said this is probably what is known, like $4 million worth of bribes over the past couple of years.
Well, that's I think where Biden should be that's what Biden should be doing. And that would be perfect. The Supreme Court would find him able to do that. Is Biden should be able to come out on national TV and say Clarence Thomas is accepting bribes. Period.
Yeah.
It's an
How could we
official
take the
act.
court seriously when one of your judges
It's an official act.
on its take?
And if they want to say it's a crime to slander, no, not an official, not when he's acting in his official capacity, talking about an official act, sitting at the Oval Office desk, Biden should be able to call these people out and say, Clarence Thomas accepts bribes. Period. And he doesn't report them.
His wife is a kook.
Yeah, and he should be able to say that. He should say Clarence Thomas's wife helped organize the insurrection. She organizes riots, and he should be able to say Alito's wife is a homophobe. She talks about how she shouldn't have to look at a pride flag across her lagoon.
That's so weird. I think there's something that bother. I always feel like those people have something else going on. If they're bothered so much by that, there's something up.
Well, could be. But I mean, that's what Biden should
So
be doing.
tempting. I don't know why, but it's so tempting.
Kavanaugh said under oath that Roe versus Wade was decided law.
Okay.
And
Let me say this. Every right-wing judge that is on the Supreme Court currently right now has lied 100% during their confirmation. And if you think that, like, how do I say this? If you're surprised by this, are you surprised by it, or are you just trying to point out that?
No, I'm trying to say what Biden should do.
Okay.
From the Oval Office desk, and say it plainly, like, look, these people all lied under oath. They lied under. They said
Biden helped Clarence Thomas get on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, he could say, look, he lied to me.
Yeah,
he could say that.
Sure.
He lied to my face.
Yeah,
he told me that it would be settled law, and he said that under oath, and he told all of you it would be settled law, and then he ruled differently. And if Biden just keeps up that, these are all that's what he should do.
There were some good moments in the debate when Biden talked about that, how it was settled law. It's been a law for over 50 years, and he took it away. That he did get Trump a bit in the middle. It just took a while to get there.
Yeah,
called him out. Said he was a rapist. That he, convicted felon. Should have said 8 would have changed. The whole night would have been different.
Well, I don't know. I think that Biden has to be on TV. So they're talking now about him doing a sit-down interview, hopefully not with like Katie Tur, Kristen Welker. I think again,
in a blonde wig.
I know what you mean about tonight being disappointing, but like that is the only path forward for Biden, is speaking a lot often. If he goes out and is on TV every night and is coherent and fluid with the facts and everything, then in like 3 or 4 days, probably If he did that 3 or 4 days in a row, nobody'd be talking about that debate anymore.
Well, the other thing too, I mean, I know you say that, but that's not true. I mean, his opponents will bring up the debate, of course, because they're going to do that anyway. Like someone said, like, someone wrote something about like, oh, if they did this, they'll bring it up or whatever. And I said, dude, even if Biden could do nothing, and the Republicans would still say that he's corrupt.
Yeah.
So, like, if Biden were to do the things now that he thinks he could get away with because of the Supreme Court, the Republicans are going to claim that he's abusing his power all the time anyway. I mean, they claim that Biden is the reason why Trump got convicted.
Yeah.
Biden has nothing to do with the New York trial.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, he might have like just said, that's fun. But, like he has nothing to do with that. And Trump even tried blaming Biden on stage that night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Now, listen, if this is the beginning where, like you said, he makes more appearances, he says more stuff, maybe he does actually talk about some actions against the court, then I would say, okay. But if this was it, he just comes out for a minute, says, go vote. I would be like,
he needs to be out talking a lot all the time. That's it. It's the only antidote to this.
Make sure this fucking nut does not get back in, and that the GOP does not get back in.
Well,
because that's it. That's the goal. Like if Biden were to croak literally the day after January 26th or whatever he gets inaugurated, I mean, that sucks, but at least Trump's not in the office.
Yeah, right.
I'd be fine with Kamala Harris as president.
Oh yeah, it'd be fine.
Like I said, I just don't think she's a good. I'm sure she's like great at like doing her actual job.
Yeah.
But I think like as a savvy politician, like I said, the Republicans are so good. Like if someone were to say Trump was really bad that night, a typical Republican would probably be on there and would tell the reporter, Joe Biden is the corrupt Hunter Biden. Yeah. They would just go. They would not even bring up Trump. They would not let him even. Right. And that's what she should have done. She should have been like, Trump is the most corrupt. He's at 34 convictions. He's stolen women's right to choose. Just and don't even and just piss off the reporter. The reporter's like, hey, you didn't answer the question. Well, I don't think the question's important right now.
It was a dumb question.
Now is what a threat on Trump is to the United States.
Yeah, it was a dumb question. You should ask better questions.
No, you don't even have to. You don't even say that. You just keep attacking your opponent. Yeah. And she didn't do that.
Yeah, and that's what a vice president is supposed to do. That's why you have one.
I don't know. I think everybody was startled or something after that night. They were like, "Oh fuck, I don't even know what to say."
Yeah.
Well,
it sucks.
They need to have their shit together, and they need to do not. When the media now, okay, Kamala Harris, when the media asks you about Joe Biden's performance, what do you say now?
Yeah.
You just go into attack about Trump.
Right.
And that should be across the board. All fucking Democrats. All of them. Whitmer, fucking, I think what's his face was pretty good at Newsom was pretty good. Like he liked the attention, but I think he was pretty good at like
Fetterman was real good.
Fetterman, again, Fetterman's been disappointing, but the one thing I liked that Fetterman did was he understands he had a really horrible debate against Oz.
Yeah.
And they were people who were like, this guy needs to drop out. So there's definitely like a soft spot here.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So what other horrible thing
all right
did the Supreme Court rule on?
Here, I got a list here of all their rulings, and there's like 7 or 8 of them. So I'll just zip through them real quick. A lot of them
deserve a little more talking than others.
Oh yeah. But let me go through them real quick. So 6-3, Trump has absolute immunity for official acts.
That's the one
that's the big one.
That's the one Biden gave a speech about tonight, right? That's
okay. They said basically that all the conservatives said if a president does something in their official capacity, they are immune from criminality. This will be important later. I mean, it's obviously important now, but they returned a decision on Texas and Florida's request to make social media outlets comply with their requests, that got returned to a lower court. Florida and Texas had sued like Twitter and Facebook to make them not say mean things about Republicans. And the Supreme Court 9-0 sent it back to a lower court.
Like, we have other shitty things to do. This is a little too petty for us. You go.
Yeah. Whenever I see a 9-0 ruling, I'm like, okay, that's probably, even if I don't like it, it's probably legit. You know what I mean? Like, anyway.
Yeah, we're more on a national level. This is some statewide. This is your state bullshit, your governor. And
yeah. So anyway,
for ignoring that, I guess. And
the next
on some shitty Trump appointed judge instead.
Yeah. The next one was the court struck down a 40-year precedent reducing the power of federal agencies.
That one, that's the Chevron. That one's awful.
6-3. That one's real tough because, like,
that one's bad.
Yeah, like, basically, like, it right now the EPA, like, I got something in the mail the other day that's like, it says how my water is. Like, everybody gets them once a year, and it says, like,
your water sucks.
Well, it says, this is what's in it, and these are the acceptable ranges and whatever. And currently, the regulatory bodies make companies pay for, like, enforcement measures, and they can't do that anymore.
Wasn't the other thing too that it allows judges to decide, like, a judge on a case doesn't have to refer to an agency, that they could just decide, yeah, you know what, Tyson can't dump all the chicken bones in the river.
Right. I mean, that's it. It used to be. Now I get.
Thankfully, there's no corrupt judges, so we're good.
I mean, I get the fact that, like, you might want a court to decide some of these things. Like, if I have a problem with my insurance company, and I go to the Department of Insurance, like, maybe I don't want the insurance people deciding the insurance rules, And I get, like, if you're a polluter, maybe you don't want the anti-pollution people but, like, this was 40 years of precedent. All of these justices knew that this was precedent, and 6 of them are like, nope, we don't like it, we're going to make a new law.
Well, they were put in that position
to do that. Yeah.
And I'd say this, after I saw that, I was like, why do we pay taxes?
Well, that's the thing, is that,
the
like,
government's job, you pay taxes, one, because you kind of have to, they'll throw you in prison if you don't, so that's one.
Yeah.
But in theory, you pay taxes to the government because they provide a thing called society.
Yeah.
And they have lights and roads, hopefully, and functioning stoplights and functioning sidewalks, hopefully, and maybe public transportation if you're lucky, depending on where you live, and maybe some community centers and whatever. And another thing you pay your taxes for is things like protected agencies that are from the government that protect you from, like, your child from drinking lead paint in their milk. Because let me tell you, a business doesn't give a fuck about you. And if they would selling you a light on fire with the wrong wind hitting it, they would.
Yeah, we've lived in a time frame in which regulatory agencies have largely kept us safe. But, like, it wasn't that long ago that women were having babies with, like, flippers and stuff.
I didn't live in that time period. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Thalidomide or whatever that drug was.
Well, there's even a recent one that has to do with Johnson & Johnson having, like, lead or something in the talcum powder, like, really nasty shit that causes cancer causing agents. And, like, now
we're going to see more of that,
What?
We're going to see more of that.
Yeah, well, I don't want to live in that world. That's awful. Like, I lived in the world that had, you said, years, majority of my life, or maybe even longer than that, these things existed. They're not perfect. There's corruption in them. But as I would imagine, if they did a case study 10 years from now, they would say, yeah, shit's worse.
It is. Well, let me get through these other rulings real quick. There's, like,
well, that's a big one.
That is a huge
that
one.
deserves a little bit of talking about, because that is.
Oh yeah, well, I thought you wanted to talk about them after, but yeah,
we can talk about them as you do it, because I'm not going to remember and go back to them.
Yeah,
I have nothing really else to say about it. Just saying that Chevron is a really big fucking deal. It's a huge fucking deal. You're going to see fucking cancer rates go up. You're going to see fucking heart attacks go up. You're going to see people getting fucking botulism go up. There's going to be all kinds of shit. And there's less protections now because all the agencies have basically had their fucking knees kicked out from under them.
Well, I would say the irony of it is this is more likely to happen in depressed red areas,
Unfortunately, yes, but unfortunately, it also
no, I would say fortunately, yes.
Fortunately, no, that's not even funny.
Well, look,
you live in a red area.
Yeah, but look, it's not like any state is red or blue. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to build a keepone factory next to my house.
A what factory?
Like a keepone factory or whatever. It's just not going to happen. It'll never happen. They're not going to build like an asbestos mine down the road.
The next day, you're like,
right.
Wait, that's not supposed to be here.
They might do that in a lot of parts of Texas, but they're not going to do that here. And just like in Colorado, you're not going to have people like manufacturing cyanide in Denver, but out near like fucking the sticks, in far western Colorado.
Yeah, but that shit comes back. It always does. It always gets
back.
But
like
this is also how like the EPA, all this stuff. This will just assure a bigger pandemic too in the future, or a bigger outbreak of sickness caused by botulism, or what they call that E. coli getting it. Like I remember during the Obama years, the first year of Obama, there were all these E. coli outbreaks, but that wasn't from Obama. That was the tailwind from the Bush administration before, because they allowed all the, like I remember reading Faster Nation, the guy said, listen, I'm going to get political here, but if the president's a Republican, you might want to become a vegetarian. That's all I'm just going to leave it.
Well, that is true. I mean, like, I don't know. Well, anyway, you're right. That's probably a bigger deal. Like Trump getting declared immune. That's very frustrating. Really bothers me. But like whether or not a president goes to prison for, so that seems like it would affect me.
It's more scary because Trump is such a narcissistic psycho.
Yeah.
There was probably times when he was president where he was like, can I have that person killed?
Right. It's a pretty abstract threat.
No, you can't do that, sir. But now you can't, sir. Actually, you could if you wanted. You sure?
Yeah.
I'll think about it. And he'll go on TV and he's like, you know what? I was gonna have her killed, but I decided not to. You're welcome. You can thank me later.
I've always thought poorly of Mayor McCheese. Always.
Yeah. The Hamburglar. I thought about having him taken out, but I think I'm gonna put him in my administration.
Right.
Hamburglar. Did you see Steve Bannon got sent to prison?
Yeah. That is awesome. I heard it's a real shitty prison too.
It's not like he was trying to get into like one of those country club prisons.
He was trying to, but he's going to one in Danbury, Connecticut, which it's not a hardcore prison, but it's like if you imagine them as being like level 1 is basically super chill. No, like sometimes they don't even have guards. Like they literally just have video cameras and shit. You clock yourself in. That's a level 1. And then a level 3 is like a legit Oz type prison. This is a level 2.
You might get butt raped. What you're saying.
Well, yeah, right. Like you
might be traded for a pack of smokes.
Well, you will probably very likely be around people that were arrested for like real things, not like, oh, I'm in here for wire fraud or
I think those people should be in prison too. There should be no such thing as a fucking what's up with those country club prisons? Who pays for those?
They're regular prisons. I mean, I think that we always hear about them when it's like
they're wearing like nice like they're at a lodge or something, or like a fucking
Very few of them have heated pools, though. Very few.
The jet streams on the jacuzzis are not as good as
Exactly.
at the other country.
They still haven't done or completed the turnover from tennis courts to pickleball, so there's a lot of fresh.
The sushi is not as fresh as we want it to be.
Yeah, no, they're like unpleasant, but like I think those are for people. We hear about them when it's like a celebrity, but I think a lot of it is like, people that probably legitimately don't have a serious threat. They probably have like real strong ties to the community, shit like
Yeah.
that. I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
Steve Bannon sucks, and it's funny he's going to prison,
It is.
where he is in prison now, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That guy sucks so much. He's the worst.
Yeah, he is terrible.
Like I don't think people realize like how bad that guy is.
Yeah,
and that much power this guy had too. He's such a miserable fucking person.
Canker sore. Guy like
such a miserable
struck it rich by accidentally investing in Seinfeld.
That's insane.
This is what he does with his living.
Money from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
What's up? What the fuck's up with Seinfeld, dude? What's up with that show? The lead, fucking Steve Bannon. I don't even understand how that one worked out.
He had a private investment company that like was just randomly buying, and he bought share in the Seinfeld show. Like,
I don't understand that. Like, you could do that. That was a thing. Like,
I didn't know that. Yeah, I don't.
He was I thought he was like a producer or something.
Yeah, could be. I don't know. I don't know that, but I know it is true that he gets a lot of money from Seinfeld.
Well, I don't. And the thing is too is that okay, is this he's in there because he like is this because of the wall thing?
This is that's a good question. I assumed it was the wall thing.
That's like
no, I'm sorry, this was his contempt of Congress charge.
Okay, but
from 2 years ago.
Yeah, so this was because of the wall thing too, right? Like
no, this is completely different.
The Congress had to do with the wall? I guess not. That was something else. Right?
It was like January 6th or something.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't think any of these fuckers ever go to jail over having contempt. Not showing up for Congress. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, no, the thing I won't move on to the next Supreme Court thing real quick, but like his build a wall thing really I don't think ever got the attention it deserved. It really summed up what a scam the whole Trump administration was.
Yeah.
You had one of his guys in his administration, campaign manager and everything, who literally led a grift where he took, I don't know, him and this other guy, they took hundreds of thousands of dollars from a bunch of rubes saying this was going to go to the wall. And it doesn't even make sense because like, wait, isn't the government supposed to do that? Like Trump's the president. Why are you collecting money for this? And this fucking guy was like even bragging. Like it was like him bragging with that guy, and he was making a jokes like, "Oh, he's got a new boat now" or something. And like
he was arrested on a boat. He was arrested by postal workers.
I think he was arrested on the boat. He paid for with the wall fund,
and it was like postal service cops. Like the post office has special cops.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, anyway, all right. Let me get to the next ruling. The next one after that was this is a real weird one. A decision to narrow obstruction law that could affect the prosecution of January 6th rioters.
Oh, yeah, this is another one that helps the people who rioted on January 6th get out.
Yes, but the weird part is Amy Coney Barrett joined the Liberals, but Ketanji Brown Jackson joined the Conservatives.
Weird.
It was a real weird. It was a 6-3 ruling.
Let's just switch to fuck with people.
Yeah, well, it's like probably at lunch. Hey, you know what would be funny? But that's a weird one. I don't know how I feel about it. A lot of them are saying that like it's not that this isn't as big of a deal as it sounds. Does
this like just protect like Clarence Thomas's wife or something?
No, but a weird offshoot of this is that it will, and not a lot of people are talking about this, but it will also protect college students that were arrested for Palestinian protests. Like like it'll cut both ways in a weird sort of way. So
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. Like in general, whenever I see a conservative majority, I just sort of have a knee-jerk reaction, like it probably
Wait, you said
sucks.
you said it protects the Palestinian voters, or you said it hurts the Palestinian
No,
voters?
it helps them. Like the same, like a lot of red states used the same type of charges that the government used against January 6th people against college students when they were doing pro-Palestinian
Right, right.
things. So if this affects the January 6th people, it will likewise affect some good people too. So I
Probably
don't.
why Ketanji Brown Braxton probably.
It could be like, because I think there were with some of these, like,
Yeah, I have a feeling that this thing still sucks ass.
oh yeah, no,
This
look,
happens to the main goal is to help the Trump and the
right.
January 6 people.
All right, so the next one was this is the one that killed me. Unhoused people sleeping outside can be fined and jailed six
This
to
is
three.
insane.
Well, it's particularly insane
Black-hearted country.
when you say, well, the president is immune from crimes, but you can also throw someone in jail for not having a place to sleep. Like, I mean, what are these people are supposed to live in the woods, or I don't know.
Yeah, and actually it's illegal to do that too. In South Carolina, you're at like a park or whatever, and I'm pretty sure if it's in like most city parks, there were like bars put in place. And I was telling my son, I'm like, why do you think those bars are there? And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, people could sit comfortably. I'm like, nope.
See, the
There,
thing is,
so homeless people cannot sleep on it. It
the
is
way,
anti-homeless.
oh yeah, they call it a hostile architecture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
bullshit. I see that all the time, like in airports and shit. Not that homeless people congregate in airports, but like they have benches that have like, yeah, all exactly what you're
They
talking
have
about.
I saw one of the worst ones ever was the sidewalk under an underpass or whatever, where you would tend to see a lot of homeless people because they
Yeah,
want to get shade or they want to avoid rain or whatever. They would like put like they would have the ground not be even. It would be almost like spiked.
yep. I've
Yeah.
seen that.
Yep.
I've seen big boulders placed there.
Yep.
Sometimes they disguise it to look like they're not being assholes, but they'll plant like uh spiky plants and shit there, that looks in, like, if you just look at it casually, you're like, oh, that's nice, it's like some greenery, but that's not why it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. Where are these
uh
fucking people supposed to go?
it's just weird. It's weird for a bunch of reasons, but like it's also weird from an enforcement standpoint, because the way the law read was that if you can't use a blanket, pillow, or cardboard box for protection from the elements, but like, what is that, like, is that umbrellas at the beach? Like if I'm at a park and I'm on a pic and I have a picnic and I'm on a blanket, like, I like it's clearly
They come to
a,
and smell you, and they're like,
yeah,
"Oh, you look like you bathe once." So
right,
I'm not. I mean, I know it sounds.
yeah,
It's ridiculous. It's like it's just this fucking gross. Because the thing is, I would be like, okay, so like this is like the same thing with like taking away women's rights to choose or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, so like you're gonna have like more sex education and
yeah,
prophylactics and you're going to put in programs that help poor people so they can afford their kids. Oh no, we're not going to do any of that. And then same thing with like homeless people. Oh yeah, we made it impossible for these people to be anywhere and if they're and it will arrest them and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, so like you're funding the shelters, providing housing. Oh no, we're not doing any of that. No, we're a
yeah,
black-hearted country. I mean, this is really what this is. It's like, well, I mean, if they're not completely, if they're coherent and everything like that, you could shove them in a prison and have them work in a slave mine. I mean, the funny thing about you always hear about the United States, you always hear about China with their labor camps and everything like that. But you never really hear about how
yeah,
if you buy stuff in Target, there is a decent chance that it was built at a factory that is owned by
yeah,
a private prison, and it was actually prisoners
right.
that made that underwear that you're buying. Like, there's a decent chance that that is the case. And I guess laws like this will just provide more slave labor for these, because what are you in here for? Oh, I'm home. I was unhoused and I was trying to like sleep somewhere, and now I'm serving like, I don't know, 10 years.
I do think I just like halfway commented on it on Twitter, but like you get enough people willing to get arrested in Grants Pass, Oregon, which is where this started, you can bankrupt that city.
Yeah, what was that? You posted something earlier. Was that
that was that was the law. It was this Supreme Court case came out of Grants Pass, Oregon, and they wanted to be able to arrest homeless people. And the state's a liberal state. Grants Pass is a conservative place in Oregon. And the state said you can't do it. And so the city took it to the Supreme Court and won. So now they can start throwing people in prison. But Grants Pass is a dumpy little town with not a lot of money. And I was saying, and look, I know I don't have the wherewithal to do it myself, so I'm not saying anyone else should.
But some good activism would be to.
Yeah. Like if you were a dedicated activist for the homeless, you could bus, with their consent, of course, a bunch of people, homeless people, whoever, to Grants Pass, have a nap in the middle.
Yeah, they don't have to be unhoused people. They could be like people who are just activists. And technically, if you're sitting in a place and, like you said, put a piece of cardboard down or whatever, that is officially against the rules of that area, or now officially rule, I guess, everywhere in any city. You would overload and they wouldn't be able to handle.
Yes, and you would turn the town's crime statistics into a nightmare, and then all their insurances would go up because it's a crime-stricken area, and it would fuck with them.
Like 500 people out there and just go to their prison.
We have a crime rate of like 6,000%. 6,000% of crimes are committed. It's like,
well, again, most of these right-wing like backed laws and stuff, they're always like bullshit. They're mostly there to get like a headline, salacious, scandalous headline, piss off libs and all that. But they're never like well thought out. So yeah, like that's a good example. Like that should. Now I'm sure you're making it sound like it's easier said than done, but you are right too, though, that if you got enough people to do it and willing to do it, it would overload that area. And you can probably do that in other cities that are not well equipped. And I would imagine even states like New York City would not like that, or Denver, or
that's what Florida LA and Texas are doing to Chicago and New York. I mean, they're flooding them with a problem. And they're saying,
they send migrants to like New York City or Chicago. Yeah, I mean,
that's the difference here would be that these would be people with that have informed consent or whatever. But it is a weird one. I guess here's what
it's so gross and it's so heartless and it's so disgusting. And like I said, okay, what's your solution then?
Yeah,
it's go the get a job.
I get not wanting homeless people. If you have a shop downtown, I get not wanting homeless people to camp out.
When I lived in Chico, there would be all these like, I don't even know if they were even homeless. They were mostly just like, they were like these weird hippies that would just travel. They were so smelly. Like they were weird. They were like, I don't know what the word is. Like they always look like they were covered in like dirt. Like they were, like Burning Man for 5 years or something. And they would just hang out in downtown. And I would feel bad for any of the retailers because they would just be in the front with their fucking pit bulls on a string.
Yeah.
They'd smell like fucking piss. And I'd be like, dude, how can you have a retail operation in this shit? I mean, I'm sorry. I don't think it's right that those people are doing that. But
I went to Denton the other day with my family. We're walking into that ice cream place that's been there forever. Yeah. And they have like 5 or 6 tables set out front. All the tables were occupied by homeless people scrolling on their cell phones asking for money. And I was like, this is what conservatives,
now you sound like one of those puppets.
Right.
They have a cell phone.
100% do. But it's not the problem with the cell phone, but like you see the weird complexity of the issue in situations like that where you're like,
but it's a problem that's not being taken care of because we don't have support system in this country that it's heartless, and a thing like this is incredibly heartless because it's
Yeah,
not well
it's
thought out.
awful.
It's not well thought out. Like I said, like, okay, yeah, you're putting in these anti-abortion laws. Are you going to do these things or anything? No, we're not doing any of that. You're just going to have the kid go fuck off. And that's not our problem. We're actually going to take away all your benefits if we can. We're going to remove all kinds of welfare. We're going to try to completely destroy the welfare state in any way possible. And it's like the same thing with the homeless thing. I think in the long run, this is just to fill those private prisons.
Yeah, that's often the case. I could see that for sure.
And again, it's just heartless.
It's
like
heartless. That's the real thing. It's not like
the kind of people that get off on this are just gross.
These are the people too that are like wanting really hard to put the 10 Commandments in school.
Oh God, that
like,
one. Saying so real quick, Louisiana, basically the governor said that 10 Commandments could be in the school, and then that schmuck from Oklahoma, Ryan Shithead, what's his name?
Walters.
Ryan
Walters.
Yeah. He put in that the Bible has to be taught in school. I'm like, listen, all right. I mean, I'm not for this, but are we going to teach the Quran too? Maybe
right.
Torah? Are we going to teach, fuck, you're going to teach the Mormon Bible or whatever? You're going to teach like.
I'm just going to zero in on that one verse about giant horse sticks. It's going to be my whole.
Yeah, but I mean, like, okay, you want to have like a religious course? Like, what's going on here? I mean, like, let's open the door here. Like, are we gonna have the Satanic Bible here too? Like,
that always the Satanic Temple's always great at that.
Yeah, but I liked. There was one recently with Louisiana with this guy who was like the head of like I don't know, like a Hindu, and he was like, okay, so we're gonna start teaching this in the schools too. Like, we're gonna have the
Vedas,
fucking idiots.
All right, let me get through these other ones real quick. The next one was there's a decent amount more. Let me see.
All right, just go through them and we'll.
Actually, there's only I'll okay. So the next one was the court allows emergency abortions in Idaho for now, which seems like a win, but it's not really a win. Alito, Gorsuch, and Thomas, those three arch conservatives, did vote to let women drop dead. But Amy,
kind of them. We allow you to die.
Well, the thing about this is they just sent it back to the lower courts, so they kind of punted on this. They could still rule against it. My thought is that they didn't want to rule on it before the election, because they 100% want to make it so that even in the case of a woman's life that
that's awful.
The court blocked the EPA's attempt to reduce pollution that drifts across states.
I mean, it kind of goes in hand with the Chevron thing. So
it does. Amy Coney Barrett joined the liberal justices.
Wow. She's like, I like clean air.
Well, I would imagine it's
church says that clean air. Okay.
Yeah. This was a weird one. They blocked the Purdue Pharma bankruptcy. The one that would shield the Sacklers from lawsuits. That was decided 5-4, and it was a weird mix. The people that voted against it were Kavanaugh, Roberts, Kagan, and Sotomayor. And Ketanji Brown Jackson joined the conservatives again to throw out that settlement. I have no idea how to feel about it. Part of me is really, I like the idea that big pharma is held accountable, but another part of me is like, you guys got to stop chomping those oxys. I mean, this is a real. You guys got to stop chomping those oxys. Like, I get some people were like, my frustration with it is, I get how big pharma gets people addicted to pills or whatever, but like, the only reason any of these people care about it is because it was a white problem in the Rust Belt.
I mean,
like, if this were affecting...
it was sold as a medicine, right? Initially for pain.
Yeah.
And it was highly addictive. But I think aren't pain pills usually very addictive? Isn't that always been the problem?
They taste so good. Yeah. They make you.
I mean, they prevent pain. No one likes pain.
Right. They take away pain.
Masochist.
Right. Anything marketed as a painkiller should be reasonably
But
addictive.
This one was really bad.
Yeah, and it was very, it would cause a physical dependence and stuff. Like
this was basically, they said it was like hillbilly heroin, is what.
Yes, right.
And yeah, you're right. Unfortunately, like it gets more attention because it's like, I don't know what to say about it. It's fucked up, and I think those people should be sued into oblivion. So well, and I think if you get them, it kind of sends a message. It's like in China when you find out like these executives like poisoned kids or something with milk. Guess what happens to those executives? They get executed.
The next one was all the right-leaning judges decided that the SEC cannot rule on. They stripped the Security and Exchange Commission of a major tool in fighting security fraud. So
wait, why?
It was not in the Constitution.
Security fraud, a thing that existed in the seventh. Wait, what?
Yeah, that was and it was another one. 6 conservatives voted to get rid of it.
I feel like that's
the next one was the
I think that was probably really important.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's really important. The big reason I think it's important is, like, look, if a guy illegally trades stocks and becomes rich, it used to not be a huge deal. I mean, one person was illegally profiting, but like with people shorting stuff and all that, it seems like it could hurt a lot of people very quickly. Like,
is this thing that like kind of caused the 2008 crash, or am I like?
Yeah, to some degree. I mean, like, yeah, the SEC definitely had a hand in regulating that. Yeah. The next one was that everybody except Clarence Thomas agreed that domestic abusers shouldn't have guns.
That's just comically evil on Clarence Thomas' part, but I do probably agree that that Clarence Thomas cannot vote against guns no matter what.
I think he just gotta.
Has he ever voted against guns in any way?
No.
So yeah, he probably gets like a letter. You are not allowed to vote against guns.
Yeah.
The other ones can, but you sir cannot. You are going to be the most evil one in the court.
The next one was a weird one. It was a weird taxation issue. A couple from Washington said that their foreign investments shouldn't be taxed in America, and it was decided 7-2 against them. The only people that voted against it were Thomas and I want to say Kavanaugh. No, Thomas and Gorsuch. I got to figure that's a solid ruling. Like, if all the liberals or all the
Wait, what was it?
It was this couple from Washington had foreign investments and didn't think the investments should be taxed because they were never realized into like American dollars or whatever. And 7-2 went against them. All the liberals and a few of the conservatives kind of joined together against Thomas and Gorsuch. And I'm fine with that. The federal ban on bump stock devices got struck down 6-3.
That's insane. That's just absolutely batshit. And the funny thing, that's like one of the only good things Trump did in his administration.
Yeah.
Was that, and that was like, I mean, that was just like, okay, do we need to have this cartoonishly evil thing added on weapons? There's no reason for anyone to have this.
Yeah.
No one should have a bump stock. There's no one should even have these weapons to begin with.
Right.
No one needs to have a thing that makes it even more powerful. Like, unless you're like, in the military or you're like, you know, in some official capacity. And the fact that they got rid of that is like just evil. It's just evil. There's no, I'm assuming it was all 6 versus 3 on that one.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The next one was the court upholded the access to the abortion pill mifepristone.
Yeah.
That was 9-0. I have heard too, though, that this is basically it could be a bad thing in disguise. They could be like pushing it back till after the election.
Well, again, they probably don't want to. They really want to avoid any abortion stuff
Yeah.
during the election. So yeah, after the election, that shit will be gone. Trump even said that he would protect it. I said that's a fucking lie. He gets in, that'll be one of the first things that gets done in the first year of his presidency. They will get rid of you will not have access to that pill. They'll make it illegal.
Yeah. The last
Anyone that believes that won't happen, you're a fucking idiot.
Oh yeah. The last one was that South Carolina doesn't need to redraw congressional maps to consider black voters. That was 6-3 as well. So honestly, all of them were South Carolina did not need to redraw their congressional map, which greatly favored white voters, and
of course it does.
Yeah.
Oh wait, they did it. Is this a positive thing or is this a negative?
Negative.
Okay, I want to make sure. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean, but so South Carolina can use the maps they drew up, which were racist.
Okay, so yeah, those all suck. And it's been one after the other.
They all suck.
Like their little seasons, right? They do this. It's like what, every quarter or something?
Something like that. Yeah, they'll
this
hear.
One's just like this one's probably. These are definitely like some of the worst ones. They've had bad ones before. Obviously, the the abortion one being like most notable. They'll go after Hobbs at some point. They'll wait till Trump's back in. If they, he won't. Well, but if he does, they will go after Hobbs.
I am stuck on whether or not this is like, look, it's a very bad thing. All these rulings are very bad, but like, I'm kind of glad they're coming now and not right after the election.
Right. Yeah. Know? I mean, like, and the thing is that people should be aware of is like, if you think these are bad, Trump gets back in. This is right. You're gonna wish for these days of these bad because they're just gonna be like ridiculous. I want to talk about. I know you got Vance infrastructure. There's really nothing to talk about JD Vance here. This is really quick. JD Vance, but is being interviewed. He's probably gonna. I really truly believe that he will be Trump's VP pick. He's been making lots of TV appearances, which is always a sign that like, hey, pick me, or they just want to get him out there. Listen, the guy speaks well and all that, but the thing I hate about him the most is how the media just lets him get away with it. So he was being interviewed. I don't know, it was like Face the Nation. Do you know what it was on?
I don't.
I sent it to you on Instagram.
But I don't remember the broadcast.
Yeah, mainstream news or whatever. He was being interviewed, and they asked him, and he took credit for infrastructure stuff in his state, whatever. And it's a known fact that he voted against the infrastructure bill. And this is something that's been pretty common with the Republicans, especially during the Biden years, is that all these fucking people, I think Boebert's guilty of it too. It happens all the time. There was that famous one I showed you, that woman in Florida that was trying to take credit, and the reporter was relentless and would not stop. Like, you didn't vote for this. You're taking credit for this. Right. And she like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, she was trying to like, I don't know. She was probably like more shocked, but they have to say whatever the fuck he wants. There's no rebuttal. Lay doesn't say once like, oh, well, you did vote against us. She just goes, all right, thank you. And he's like, and then he has this little creepy smile and everything's hunky-dory. That's the fuck, dude. The media, this is why I stopped watching cable news like a long time ago.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I dropped cable as a whole, because I don't want to even have access to this shit.
It's very depressing.
Garbage. I knew it was garbage back when like the Iraq War, when they all backed it.
Oh yeah.
It's disgusting. I mean, the whole job of the corporate media news is anyways to sell people boner pills. Like Alex Jones was selling boner pills too, but his boner pills were like, I don't know, rhino horn and newspaper or something. Old newspapers, these are different. They're more legit boner pills. The one's made in labs with rhino horn and old newspapers.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that. What was that Simpsons episode when he's eating those power bars?
Yeah.
And I think the ingredients was like apple cores and old papers. I love when he's like, I'm gonna eat everything in bar form. And he takes like a whole like spaghetti, like a whole like family size, eats the whole bar, and he's like, I have to go to the hospital. I don't eat everything in bar form now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, JD Vance sucks. Don't be shocked if Trump picks him as his VP.
Right.
I think he's like the kind of perfect candidate for Trump because he's not going to overshadow him in any way, and he's just a creepy automaton that will.
Yeah.
And it's funny too because didn't he get quoted saying like Trump was
Oh
basically
yeah.
Hitler? I guess he likes Hitler.
Mm. Awful.
You could thank Ron fucking Howard for me. No,
Yeah.
well, I don't. No one. I'm sure no one thinks about that movie at all. I think
Oh yeah, I forgot there was a movie.
they made a movie about. They made a hillbilly elegy movie, and again,
Right.
what was the main focus of that book again? It was to blame poor people for their
Yeah.
right. His goal.
It was a bootstrap book.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Well,
these people who made these poor decisions.
yeah.
These stupid fools.
Fuck
And that's
that.
why they have to enter the Hunger Games to pay tribute.
Yeah.
I saw the new one on the plane when I was driving. The new Hunger Games.
Yeah. Well, how was it?
I actually liked it. I thought it was better than most of the Hunger Game movies
Oh.
because it was like a kind of like a complete story. Like I don't know if it was based on a book or not.
I think she did. I think the author did do a prequel book. I didn't read it or
But was
anything.
it like it? This felt like a one-off. Like yeah, they could make a sequel
Yes.
maybe, but it didn't feel like okay. This is setting up and we're saving this for the next movie. Like it didn't feel like a franchise thing.
No, I think she did exactly what you're describing. I think she did a one-off prequel to the Hunger Games series.
Yeah, I liked it actually. It was actually a pretty decent movie. It
Oh.
explained things and like it was kind of fucked up, and it showed like I mean I'm not gonna get into it, but it just
Yeah.
showed like, there was like no pageantry in the beginning, and like the games were designed and where people just got killed. There was like no winner really, and they're like no one's gonna want it. You see how it ends up turning into more like a reality
Spectacle.
show competition show, even though people are getting killed, but like there's like pageantry added to it, and it's a bigger, you know, it was interesting. And it was when I watched it though, I found out what's his face died. Donald Sutherland died.
Oh,
Literally
okay.
but he's not in that movie, but it's
right.
a character. And I was like watching it too. I'm like, okay, this guy was such a miserable, evil fuck. Like, how do I like? And I think they did a good job. They did a good job in a prequel of like you're like you're rooting for this guy, but you know he's going to turn into
evil. Yeah.
But you see how it happens, and you see where it is, and you see it all makes sense in some way. I don't know. It was good.
Yeah.
I liked it, and I feel like I shouldn't because even the name is corny. It's like
serpents and snakes or something.
Yeah.
Chutes and ladders.
The song of serpents and Jack and Jill. Go down the hill to fetch a pail of water. Okay, Lauren Boebert. How about this? Let's talk about the hospital boards real quick, and then we'll talk about
this is, and I don't have a ton to say about it, but I always like advocating for this. I was reading an article. It came out of Sarasota County, which is like a pretty wealthy area, south of Tampa. And anyway, so the Republicans, a lot of the far right people have been running members to the hospital board. They wanted their candidates to get on the hospital board. Okay. And they started digging around, and apparently this is kind of a widespread thing. Republicans are trying to get people on hospital boards, particularly in places where the hospital is like a public nonprofit. They're trying to privatize these, get all the healthcare privatized, and that's like a big focus of the hospital boards. And that obviously sickens me. I have always said that it is insane that there are races where there's no Democrat running. Democrats need to, even if you find an imperfect candidate, you got to be running someone in every race. Find like if you're running a hospital board, go find a reasonably competent Democrat whose name begins with A, last name begins with A, and hopefully they'll be on the first spot in the ballot and they'll win. You know,
What's your name? Zebra. No.
Right. No, you will not do.
Zachary. Your new name is Ackery. Get out there.
Amber Appleton.
What?
Amber Appleton.
Like Amber. Abel Abelson. Because you want to make sure you
right.
Annie
Aardbart. That's but you there's no reason you shouldn't be running people. And you should be able to be real competitive in a lot of those races, you know.
Well, this is where they succeed the Republicans. They get their scumbag.
They do.
There's probably a lot of money into it. I mean, like, what is the benefit of having them on a hospital board?
I think they just that you get to say you're on a board, you get to feel important. I don't think you get any money, but like you
No,
could
but there's
launch
clearly some decisions being made that will
right.
really affect people's health care. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's a thing. So it's one more thing to look forward to.
Awesome. So thinking of let's end it on something fun.
Yes.
Fun one. This girl, this lady, this grandma, this she literally is a grandma.
Yeah.
33-year-old grandma, I think. No, I think she's like 30s now. So Lauren Boebert was running in the Colorado 3, claimed some bullshit, knew she was probably going to lose, that she probably was going to lose the primary.
Yep.
But she's definitely going to lose that in Frisch this time. She carpetbagged it over to Colorado 4, which is Colorado Springs. Me and Joseph were deluded enough to think the wise people of Colorado Springs would look at Lauren Boebert and say, this is not a serious person. We demand our crazy Republicans to be serious. And no, that's not what happened. Lauren Boebert successfully won her primary. Now, let's be clear. She did not win the majority. She was running against 6 people.
Yeah, true.
Or she was 6. She was one of the 6 candidates. I think she got 40-something%.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And in total, the other people. So she still she won and lost in a way. And I knew this would happen. I was like thinking about it, especially as it got close to the election. I'm like, this fucker's gonna win.
Yeah.
No one's dropped out. It's too crowded. She's the most notable name.
Yep.
You know who the fuck she is because she's a loudmouth and she gets all this fucking attention.
Yeah.
Got all that regardless of what you think she did in Denver, she got all that attention for that. And I imagine the kind of people I was talking about, like those
they probably eat that up.
Organize their trip by UFC events and smoke weed. They're probably like, oh yeah, I'm going for the Lauren Boebert, bro. She could yank my crank out of Beetlejuice. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Like, but like, they didn't unify against her. The GOP was not serious about getting rid of her. If they were serious about getting rid of her, they would have unified and put the strongest candidate up, and that person probably could maybe have won. But that's not the case. It's a very crowded field. She was the most notable name, and Republicans are insane.
Yeah.
They're insane. No. It is insane that she won, but I'm not shocked. I watched her victory speech. I don't know. She sounded fine for what she does. It wasn't like embarrassing or anything like that. She didn't say like, well, now that I won, I'm gonna go to the local I'm gonna go to a Chuck E. Cheese and jack off my friend in the ball pit. That's what she said. And I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
And then she said absolute diplomatic immunity, she screamed out. Right before Mel Gibson from Lethal Weapon.
Yeah. I don't think. I think she'll win her reelection, but I don't know that.
She's gonna win. Like that's the thing that pisses me off the most about it was the reelection. The reelection usually in these congressional seats is the primary.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they were serious about getting rid of her, they would have coalesced around a candidate. But no, clearly they like having her around.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think she'll be awful. I don't think she's gonna change. I felt like she
agree. Yeah.
I feel like she's kind of trying to like lie and be on her best behavior, especially like all that
I could see that.
But I don't know. I don't think she can help herself. She'll be back to doing her crazy bullshit.
Well, time will tell, but I think you're right.
It's unfortunate. It really sucks that such a talentless hack can. And I think it just says a lot about the GOP, the kind of people that vote in the Republican Party. This is a so-called, even you said it was like this is a so-called evangelical, whatever. Like,
right.
she speaks their language. I watched it. Like, they eat this shit up. It doesn't matter if she believes it or not. I don't
True.
think half those people believe it in anyway.
Mm.
It's like, I was like, and that set everything up.
Mm.
It was like, I got back from my trip. I saw that at night. I was like, I just saw it that she won. I was like, oh, great. Like, you sent me that thing basically where it like flipped, like it looked like she would lose and it flipped, and then she basically won right from there.
Yep.
And 2 days, that was Tuesday. Then Thursday was that horrible debate.
Yeah.
And now this whole Supreme Court thing. Okay, that's 3 shitty things. Could something good happen?
Yeah.
Can we have something good happen? Now I know, let's see, July 11th is next Thursday. Do you know what July 11th is?
Jeez.
Do you remember what that day is?
Is that Trump sentencing?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Good.
I don't expect anything out of that.
I agree, but look, it could be something.
It'd be really funny. Even if he had to go to jail for a month, it'd be hysterical.
Yes, I'll take what I can get.
It'd be so funny if he had to go to prison.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Yeah, I would like that.
Imagine he goes to prison and he comes out and he looks like that drawing I did where he's covered in the Aryan tattoos.
Yeah, I could see that too.
That'd be crazy. I don't think that would happen. I don't think that would play well among the mainstream voters. I think they'd be like, "Oh, I want to vote for him, but he does have a Hitler tattoo on his face now, and it is a little." Can I pretend I didn't vote for him, but I really did? Like, is there a way I could do that? I mean, is it really bad that he has all those Nazi symbols on his face? Those Aryan symbols? Is that like a bad thing?
Yeah. All
right. Well, let's see. I don't want to be doomers here.
Right.
Gloomers? Well, that's not better, right?
Yeah, that sounds just as bad.
Let's be a boomer.
There you go. Everyone loves boomers.
No, yeah, they're so popular. Everyone loves a boomer. Let's go move to the villages and be boomers.
I love it. I'm there.
That sounds awful. All right. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.